Chapter 1785. In Marshal Marquis Gang's territory, an extremely beautiful woman anxiously said, "Master has appeared. Why hasn't brother come out yet? I'm worried to death. I don't plan on waiting any longer. I want to give Master a hand. Jiang Ping, come with me." This goddess-like woman was Yang Nu, Hao Ren's proud disciple. After she and Jiang Ping came to the God realm a few decades ago, her strength had rapidly increased. Now, she had reached the high-level God realm. She came to the God realm a bit late, but with her talent, she could quickly catch up. A wretched-looking man replied, "With our strength, I'm afraid we won't be able to see the Supreme Protector. We'll be killed by others." This person was Jiang Ping. His strength was not inferior to Yang Nu's. After the two of them came up from the Transcendent Realm, they joined Marshal Marquis Gang and were provided with all kinds of resources for their cultivation. Shu Yujun's voice sounded, "Yang Nu, this matter can't be rushed. Let's wait for the military advisor to come back and let him decide. We'll definitely do our best to save Master." Wan Lanxin also said, "That's right, Master's opponent is someone from the Heavenly God Temple, and they're all at the True God Realm. Even if our Marshal Marquis Gang rushes over, we'll definitely be killed by them. It's no different from sending ourselves to our deaths." Yang Nu was no longer a little girl. She understood that everyone was right, but her heart was unable to calm down. "If that's the case, we'll first arrange for people to scout for information. When husband comes out, we'll think of a way to ask for help from the Medicine God Temple. With his status in the Medicine God Temple definitely won't ignore him." Shu Yujun said, "I'm sorry, sisters-in-law. I was too anxious. I'll sneak over first and scout for information." Yang Nu said, "No need to scout. What's the use of scouting?" Outside the hall, a man as beautiful as a woman walked in. His aura was astonishing, and he held a feather fan in his hand. It was very pleasing to the eye. If a man was described as pleasing to the eye, it could be seen just how handsome this man was. "Military advisor, you're finally back." Everyone couldn't wait to say. Since Yang Wu was not around, Lu Ji was the one who could raise the morale of the army. However, all these years, Lu Ji had been studying the Tao of formations. He had visited various famous mountains and great rivers to comprehend the Tao of formations that belonged to him. It was very rare to see him in person. Several dozen years ago, after Lu Ji broke into the true divinity realm, his strength didn't stop there. Compared to before, he had already constructed a second divine palace. Each divine palace represented one Sunday. The realm of 9 suns was the strength of a top-notch true god. Lu Ji had built 2 divine palaces. His speed of improvement was so fast that it left others in the dust. Right now, he was definitely the strongest person in the god's ethereal manner. "I already know what happened to Lord Howren," Lu Ji said calmly. "He was forced into a forbidden land in the fairyland. No matter how many of you go, it will be useless. Lord Howren dared to provoke the divine palace, which means that his strength is enough to protect himself. There is no need to worry. Moreover, I think that the Lord should be coming out of seclusion soon. When he comes out, with the help of the Medicine God Hall, there will be a chance to rescue Lord Howren. Other than that, don't do anything else." After everyone heard this, no one said anything more. Everything he said was correct. If they hadn't reached the high-level true divinity realm, they wouldn't be able to help. It was also at this moment that an amazing vision suddenly appeared in the Taishan mountain range. It alarmed many of the creatures around. Stars flashed in the sky, and 9 suns shone on the world at the same time. Purple chi came from the east, and it all gathered in one place. The people of the Wuhou gang were all alarmed. The creatures of the Taishan mountain range were shocked. Even some of the true divinity cultivators who were connected to the divine palace were shocked. 9 suns. That was something that all emperor-level figures who had built the 9 great divine palaces were qualified to do. Could it be that emperor-level creatures had appeared in the Taishan mountain range? This was a big deal. Fortunately, the 9 suns only flashed for a moment, and 8 of them disappeared. Only one huge sun was left, and it also disappeared. The vision came quickly, but it did not go quickly. Those true divinity cultivators wanted to perceive the specific location of the vision, but they could not find it. It seems that the Lord is really coming out of seclusion, Lu Ji exclaimed. Is he finally coming out of seclusion? He has been in seclusion for too long this time, Shu Yujun said with a sigh. Yes, let's go and wait for her husband to come out, Wan Lanxin said. So, the direct descendants of the Wuhou gang gathered together and went to the Taishan mountain range to wait for Yang Wu to come out of seclusion. However, when they arrived, there was already a figure waiting for them in the air. It was a beautiful figure with an outstanding temperament. She wore a purple robe, and her figure was graceful and proud. She was like a fairy who had come down to earth. She was unforgettable. So beautiful, Yang Tianjiao exclaimed softly. As soon as he spoke, his sister, Wu Shuang, knocked him hard on the head. It's you, Shu Yujun and Wan Lanxin both said in unison. The woman in purple looked at their faces and smiled faintly. Long time no see. There are still some matters to take care of in the gang. I won't wait for the Lord to come out. After Lu Ji saw the woman, he turned and left. Military advisor, wait for me. I also have some things to discuss with you in advance. Yang Ba chased after Lu Ji. Madams, I'll go take a look at them, Su Chu said and quickly chased after them. Why are you all running so fast? Wait for me. Yang Zixing also slipped away. What a joke. Who knew if the three madams would fight when they met? For many years, Shu Yujun and Wan Lanxin were on equal footing. However, after the woman in front of them appeared, there might be a difference. That's right. She was Ziyu Yu, who had come out of seclusion in the chaotic lightning sea. She had returned. Yang Wushuang and Yang Tianjiao didn't know what was going on. Could it be that the woman in front of them had a great background and was a great threat to them? Or was there something that made them run away at the sight of her? Wushuang prodigies, greet Aunt Yu Yu. Shu Yujun still greeted her children. Yes, this is Aunt Yu Yu. She grew up with your father, Wan Lanxin said with a hint of jealousy. However, they were luckier than Ziyu Yu. They had been together with Yang Wu since a young age and had given birth to a pair of children. They were incomparably happy. Greetings, Aunt Yu Yu. The Wushuang prodigies said in unison. It's really good to see you all. Qian come over and greet your two aunts, as well as your elder sister and elder brother. Ziyu smiled sweetly, as if a flower had bloomed. She waved her hand towards the void and said. Suddenly, a streak of chaotic qi flashed in the void. A figure wrapped in chaotic qi said, Yang Qinkuan greets his two aunts, sister, and brother. Qinkuan, what a domineering name. Shu Yujun and Wan Lanxin were shocked. They didn't know what was going on with this chaotic qi. Ziyu Yu explained, he is my husband's child. However, the place where he was born is a little special, so we can only greet him like this for now. I hope you don't mind. Shu Yujun and Wan Lanxin both had complicated expressions. They didn't expect Ziyu Yu to have a child too. Originally, Yu Yu's position in Yang Wu's heart was irreplaceable. They wanted to use this pair of children to suppress Ziyu Yu, who knew that this trick wouldn't work. Yu Yu, is the child okay? Wan Lanxin asked Ziyu Yu. Yes. If there's a problem, tell us. We can think of a way to solve it together, Shu Yujun said. Since they couldn't change the fact, they could only accept that Ziyu Yu's child would also be their child. Thank you, sisters, for your kindness. Qinkuan is fine. He just can't control his power. He needs to find a way to control it. When my husband comes out, he should be able to solve it. Ziyu Yu didn't want to fight with them. After so many years, she had seen through everything. Moreover, ever since she gave birth to Qinkuan, she felt extremely satisfied. Your husband has come out. Where's my child? An excited voice rang out from the Taishan mountain range. The voice was still far away, but the figure was already in front of them. Husband, daddy, they called out in unison. Hey, chaotic chi, is this a chaotic divine seed? Little Hay, who was on Yang Wu's shoulder, said in surprise. Little Hay had already swept to the side of the chaotic chi of divine thunder. She saw a child lying inside, and his appearance was completely captured in her eyes. You must be Uncle Little Hay. You are really as cute as my mother said, the child said from inside. Woof, woof, good. What a chaotic divine thunder seed. No, it should be a chaotic divine thunder seed. You were born to be an immortal. From now on, You will be my disciple. Little Hay called out proudly. Little Hay, what's going on? Yang Wu flew over and asked. He opened his soul eyes and saw through the child inside the primal chaos thunder god. He looked somewhat similar to himself, but more like Ziyue. He was about 7 or 8 years old and was extremely good-looking. Yang Wu's blood vessels were throbbing, and he was immediately sure that this was his other child. Husband, he is your son, Qianquan. I gave birth to him in the chaotic thunder sea. He has been like this since birth, surrounded by chaotic divine thunder. For many years, I've tried to control his chaotic chi of divine thunder, but to no avail, Ziyue said with a hint of worry. Of course you can't do it. He is a chaotic divine seed. This chaotic chi can only be absorbed by him. Just like some demonic beasts, they eat their own eggshells after birth to nourish themselves. This child, my disciple situation, is the same. Little Hay answered from the side. Little Hay, do you have a way? Ziyue asked urgently. I am omnipotent. Of course I can. From now on, leave this kid to me. I guarantee that in less than 100 years, he will be more outstanding than Little Wu. Little Hay said confidently. A chaotic divine seed was a top-notch divine seed, even in the immortal world. Many great forces would fight to take it as their disciple. Now that Little Hay encountered Yang Qianquan, she naturally would not let him go. Then I'll leave him to you, Yang Wu said happily from the side. Chapter 1786. Yang Wu had come out of seclusion in the god-building palace, and his wife had returned. This was a double blessing. Yang Wu ordered people to hold a banquet for the Marquis gang to celebrate for 3 days. The medicine god temple even sent people to personally deliver gifts and ordered Yang Wu to return to the medicine god temple to accept the conferring ceremony. This banquet could be considered as a way to clear Yu's name. After all, they had gone through a lot of ups and downs over the years before finally coming together. It really wasn't easy. Shu Yujun, Wan Lanxin, and the others didn't have any objections. As for the women behind Yang Wu, Meng Bingxue, Yin Qi, and the others didn't have any objections. Among Yang Wu's women, only Chao Jifei didn't come to the god realm. As an emperor-ranked woman, she had never thought of sharing her man with other women. After the banquet ended, Yang Wu finally had time to prepare to help his master Hao Run. So it was Master who killed Tai Jun. It's a pity I didn't have time to reunite with him. This time, it's definitely him. I must help him, Yang Wu said after thinking deeply. Master Hao Run is currently in the Immortal Realm's forbidden area. That place is actually a place where he can attack or retreat, even if it's very dangerous. I believe that with Master Hao Ren's strength, he can protect himself. Lu Ji reminded from the side. Amen, what you say makes sense. However, as a disciple, I can't sit idly by. I must go and deal with the heavenly god temple's people together with Master. Yang Wu replied, then looked at Yang Nu and said, Sister, leave this matter to me. You just need to wait patiently. I won't let anything happen to Master. Big brother, you can bring Dugui along. He can help you. Yang Nu replied. The Ao Gudu she spoke of was naturally her mount. Ao Gudu. He was a pure-blooded true dragon, purer than Yang Jinlong. Many years ago, he had entered the god realm, and after following Yang Nu to the god realm, he had advanced by leaps and bounds, entering the true god demon realm. No need. He can stay by your side to protect you. Your sister-in-law will go with me, Yang Wu replied with a smile. The matter of saving his master could not be delayed any longer. If it weren't for Yang Qianquan, he wouldn't want to hold a 3-day wedding banquet. Relatively speaking, his master was also his family. A master was like a father to him. Now, Little Hay had taught Yang Qianquan a high-grade celestial mantra. As long as he was familiar with the celestial mantra, he would be able to absorb the chaos lightning chi. His future would be limitless. Since Yang Jingtao and Su Rome had nothing to do, they naturally kept an eye on their great-great-grandson. After making some simple arrangements, Yang Wu brought Ziyue, Lu Ji, and Yang Zixing to the Medicine God Palace. He still needed to borrow some people. Otherwise, just a few of them would not be enough to save Hao Run. Yu Huijin stayed behind to guard the palace. Even though she had reached the true God realm, she was still relatively weak. In addition, he had En Aoli and Bai E, two intermediate true god demons by his side. When Yang Wu returned to the Medicine God Palace, all the palace masters came out to meet him. Before Yang Wu had reached the true God realm, he had already become a four-tribulation true God alchemist. Now that he had reached the true God realm, he was naturally even more amazing. They had to build a good relationship with Yang Wu, who didn't know that Yang Wu had an extraordinary status in the eyes of the Medicine God Emperor. Moreover, Pill Elder respectfully addressed Yang Wu as young master. After Yang Wu exchanged some pleasantries with the palace masters, he directly expressed his intentions to the Medicine God Palace's palace master. I've long heard that you have a relationship with Hao Run, but I didn't expect it to be so deep. He offended the Heavenly God Palace a little too much. The Medicine God Palace's palace master replied with some difficulty. Before returning to the Medicine God Palace, Yang Wu had already heard about his master. Not only did his master challenge the Heavenly God Palace's emperor's son, Shun Tsang, and defeat him, but he also slaughtered many true gods of the Heavenly God Palace. His prestige was boundless, forcing the Heavenly God Palace to send many old true gods to surround and kill him. Under such circumstances, whoever dared to save Hao Run would become the Heavenly God Palace's enemy. The Medicine God Palace really did not want to get involved in this mess. Even though the Heavenly God Palace had already made it clear that they were hostile to Yang Wu, as long as Yang Wu left the Medicine God Palace's territory, he would become their target. No matter how ruthless they are, I still have to save him. Palace Master, you can't make the decision, so I'll go find Senior Brother. Yang Wu replied, Fine. In order to get everyone to agree with your decision, shouldn't you raise your status a little? That way, everyone will be convinced. Palace Master, what do you think? With your current strength, refining a 5-tribulation true God pill shouldn't be a problem, right? Refining a 5-tribulation true God pill was basically enough to become a palace master. Xiao Yinyun had only refined a 4-tribulation true God pill so far. However, if he had the ability to refine pills as a palace master and a few true gods to protect him, it would be a legitimate decision. All right, I'll do as Palace Master says. Yang Wu replied. Alchemy was his forte. He also wanted to test how much ability he had now. Open the Emperor Rank Training Ground, the Palace Master announced. The Emperor Rank Training Ground was the place where the Alchemy Emperor used to refine pills. Currently, no one knew where the Alchemy Emperor's real body was. Only a clone was left to guard the hall. This Emperor Rank Training Ground could be used by the Palace Masters, but not many people dared to set foot in it for many years. Without a certain level of ability, entering the Emperor Rank Training Ground was an insult to the training ground. The Emperor Rank Training Ground didn't have many shocking places. It was a spacious area separated from the Medicine God Mountain. There were many divine thunder Tao marks that contained the essence of alchemy. Many true God Realm alchemists could enter the Emperor Rank Training Ground for a year to comprehend and cultivate. From there, they could condense a stronger alchemy. Whether or not they could comprehend and gain something depended on their comprehension ability. After Yang Wu entered the training ground, he immediately sensed something. It was as if he saw a figure refining pills in the center of the training ground. Every movement contained alchemy. It was natural and extraordinary. He was stunned for a long time before he regained his senses. The palace masters behind him weren't too surprised. Many people had an epiphany when they entered. There were some who stood there for an entire year. Yang Wu could wake up so quickly. It wasn't that his comprehension ability wasn't good enough. It was because he had already fused with the Tao and understood the Tao, so he woke up quickly. There was an Emperor rank array here. One could activate the lightning avoidance array or not. It was up to the person. Even if divine thunder descended, it wouldn't affect the Medicine God Mountain. Instead, it would bring more lightning power to the Medicine God Mountain, helping lightning cultivators to cultivate better. Yang Wu chose a suitable place to refine pills and began to refine true God pills. This time, he was going to refine the top true God pill, 9 Yang Divine Pill. A 9 Yang Divine Pill could condense a divine palace. It was priceless and extremely difficult to refine. Moon Essence Pill and 9 Yang Divine Pill were both pills that could increase one's cultivation level. The former corresponded to heaven ascension. The latter corresponded to true God. However, the latter could be said to be at the supreme level among pills of the same level. It wasn't that easy to refine 9 Yang Divine Pill. No matter how outstanding one's talent was, one couldn't refine it before reaching true God realm. This was because refining such a pill required the power of divine seal chains to condense it. Moreover, one's understanding of true God realm had to reach a certain level. Yang Wu began to refine pills. Alchemy Dao was formed naturally. This guy's improvement is too fast. Xiao Yinyun sighed. It's really a talent that makes others jealous. Grass-crossing Hall's Hall Master said. He then added, my core body disciple can't even catch up to his shadow. Do you think he can really refine 5 tribulation true God pills? If it were other true God pills, it would be fine. However, 9 Yang Divine Pill is too difficult. It would be good if he could refine it successfully. That's right. 9 Yang Divine Pill requires the power of divine seal chains. He's still too inexperienced. None of the Hall Masters present were optimistic that Yang Wu could refine 5 tribulation 9 Yang Divine Pill. After all, only 2 of them could do it. They were Medicine God Hall's Hall Master and All Life Hall's Hall Master. They had stepped into true God realm for more than 10,000 years. They had accumulated enough alchemy, Dao, to have such ability. As for Medicine Emperor, he could refine 7 tribulation 9 Yang Divine Pill. Yang Wu focused his mind and calmed his qi. He felt the power that his true God realm brought to him. His spiritual power had already reached a terrifying level, and his strength had already reached the level of a true God in the Three Suns realm. Even though he only had 1 divine palace in his body, this divine palace was incomparably huge and filled with pure heaven and earth profound qi. Strands of power erupted from his Dantian divine palace. It also contained traces of immortal qi. It helped him refine the herbal essences with an imperceptible trace of immortal qi. This meant that the quality of the pills was even more extraordinary than those refined by other true God alchemists. Not only that, Yang Wu's hands were constantly forming seals. The power of divine chains merged into the herbal essences. This brat, he's planning to use the power of divine chains at this step? All Life Hall's Hall Master exclaimed. Impressive, but it might be too early. If he reaches the true God 5 Yang realm, he might be able to. Medicine God Hall's Hall Master said. Normally, true God alchemists would only use the power of the divine chains at the last step to condense the pill. Now, Yang Wu was refining the divine chains. The steps were not wrong, but he had to at least reach the level of true God 5 Yang before he could use this method. Otherwise, when condensing the pill, there was a possibility of failure due to insufficient divine chains. This was the experience of many true God alchemists. Yang Wu's ability was definitely beyond his expectations. After the herbal essences were quickly refined, all of the herbal essences were covered by divine chains. He murmured with satisfaction, once you reach the true God realm, all of your alchemy Dao will be much more natural. This way, you won't have to worry about losing any of the herbal essences. In the next moment, blue demoness firepower exploded. A true God demon core was thrown in. It was time to refine the demon core. After Yang Wu increased his strength, blue demoness also leveled up. It also merged with immortal foundation qi and became a true immortal flame. Its power was definitely much more terrifying than a peak true God flame. The true God demon core was also quickly refined. What kind of flame is this? Why is my true God flame feeling fear? What a powerful flame. Could be a high-level true God flame? Young Emperor entered the true God small world. Rumor has it that he entered a celestial realm. Perhaps this flame has celestial qi and is very extraordinary. I'm afraid the 5 tribulation 9 Yang Divine pill won't escape. What monster? Chapter 1787. Haha, this feels great. Yang Wu laughed as he refined the elixir. This was the first time he felt so happy while refining elixirs. The power of the divine chains that he released was free and unrestrained. It felt completely different from the power of the divine chains that he had come into contact with before. Perhaps his divine chains were imprinted with the power of the immortal root, and the immortal peach core, flower buds, tree branches, and leaves were really different from the rest. The immortal peach core carried the imprint of the immortal path. This was something that he had sensed after 150 years of seclusion. Once, Little Hay had used it to replace his dantian, and he had entered the immortal realm. In these 150 years, he had indeed ascended to the immortal realm. He had seen countless fairies, and immortals. Their immortal chi was awe-inspiring, and their talents were outstanding. They were born immortals, and their immortal path was perfect. Their control of the power of heaven and earth had reached the pinnacle. At this moment, he was even more certain that he would only build one immortal palace. All true gods aim to build 9 immortal palaces, but Yang Wu did not have such an idea. His dantian had always been the place where he absorbed qi. Using it to build his immortal palace was the right choice. Moreover, he only planned to keep this immortal palace and expand it continuously. He wanted to fuse all his martial arts into one furnace, just like refining elixirs. All the essences should be fused together. Why should he split them up? After more than 100 years of seclusion, he had absorbed countless amounts of xian qi of heaven and earth. As his strength grew, he was even more certain of his idea. He only had one immortal palace, but he already had 3 immortal palaces. As for whether this path would work, he would have to continue testing it. Now his alchemy skills had reached a new level. He still felt that there was no problem with imprinting many alchemy skills into his dantian. Perhaps this would be a different path for him to walk. All of this was thanks to Little Hay's guidance. After the demon core was refined, divine jasper spring water was sprinkled out. Other sacred springs were also poured out, fusing with the essence of the herbs and the demon core. It was the final stage of condensing the elixir. Before this, he had continuously released the power of divine chains to wrap around the essence of the herbs and the essence of the demon cores. Although they were all divine chains of the same origin, it was extremely difficult to fuse them together. If he didn't control it well, he would definitely destroy the pill. All the hall masters had been staring at this scene, but they discovered that the power of the 2 divine chains had easily and perfectly fused together without any flaws. In the blink of an eye, the winds and clouds suddenly changed, and divine lightning crazily descended. Rumble, rumble. Wave after wave of divine lightning fell, filled with the danger of destroying the world. Such a vast and mighty power of thunder was absolutely not what an ordinary real god dared to withstand. However, Yang Wu stood where he was and ignored the bombardment of the divine lightning. Moreover, he even used the supreme 9 mysteries formula and the 9 lightning body tempering technique to absorb all the divine lightning to refine his body. It was truly abnormal to the extreme. 1 lightning tribulation. 2nd tribulation, lightning punishment. 3 thunder tribulations. When the 6th tribulation, lightning punishment appeared, all the hall masters were shocked to the point of numbness. Yang Wu's long hair fluttered in the wind. His fists were like dragons as they clashed with the chaos divine lightning that had condensed into a human form. His flesh and blood splattered everywhere, and his bones were broken. However, he still did not retreat and did his best to resist. When the 6th tribulation, lightning punishment descended, Yang Wu landed on the ground like a god of war. The many wounds on his body added to his domineering charm. The hall masters looked at Yang Wu and slightly bowed, then said in unison, "Congratulations to the young emperor for becoming a 6th tribulation true god alchemist." At this moment, this youth's figure was completely on par with them, or even taller. Among those present, only the hall masters of the medicine god hall and all beings hall could barely refine a 6th tribulation true god pill. If they were to refine a 9 yang divine pill, it would already be quite good if they could refine a 5th tribulation true god pill. Because of this, Yang Wu had successfully surpassed them in the Tao of alchemy to become a top true god alchemist. In the future, catching up to an alchemy emperor was no longer an extravagant hope. Hall masters, there's no need to be like this, Yang Wu politely replied. He also didn't think that he would be able to refine a sixth tribulation 9 Yang divine pill in one go. Perhaps this had a lot to do with the immortal energy he released. Without the immortal energy, it was unknown whether he could refine a fifth tribulation divine pill. All of this was his advantage, and it was irreplaceable by others. On this day, the Medicine God Hall conferred Yang Wu the title of Medicine God Hall's Young Hall Master. This meant that in the future, he could become a true Hall Master, and not just a Hall Master of one of the 9 halls. All of the Medicine God Hall's alchemists looked up to him. Yang Wu had disappeared for 150 years, and the moment he came out, he caused such a huge commotion. How could they live? After Yang Wu was conferred the title, he brought a few people and quietly headed to the Center God Province. The Center God Province was the Heavenly God Hall's territory, and there was a kind of forbidden land in the Immortal Realm ruins. Rumor had it that Hao Run was forced to go there, and the people of the Heavenly God Hall also went there to surround and kill him. The Forbidden Land in the Immortal Realm ruins was rumored to be related to the true God Great Emperor. In the past, the Center God Province was the place where the true martial Great Emperor rose to power. Later, something happened to the true martial Great Emperor, and the forces related to him were swept away. The Heavenly God Hall took advantage of the situation and occupied the Center God Province. The place where the plates were broken was the Forbidden Land in the Immortal Realm ruins. Why was it called a broken plate? Because that area was like a broken plate, pieces floating in that space. Anyone who entered would find it difficult to control their own power, and they would float and change. Moreover, there was a terrifying destructive power that could destroy all life. It was a place that no creature dared to approach. True God Realm creatures could barely maintain their bodies and protect themselves, but if anyone dared to enter, it was hard to say whether they would live or die. In addition, there were also creatures who discovered that there was surging immortal energy. Rumor had it that the immortal energy left behind by the true martial Great Emperor was very thin, but to any creature, it was incomparably precious. Rumor had it that the God Emperor of the Heavenly God Hall once relied on his own power to absorb a strand of immortal energy from there, and that was how he ascended to the position of God Emperor. Hao Ren had indeed entered this forbidden land. It was not the first time he had come here. Back then, he had been swept into the void and accidentally encountered the Immortal Realm ruins. That was how his power had increased by leaps and bounds in a short period of time, and he had even built a god palace. Later, he had borrowed the mysterious passage there to directly descend to this broken plate. He had cultivated here for a period of time, and knew that this place contained some great secrets. However, he still did not dare to enter the depths. The reason he had come here was, of course, to lure the people of the Heavenly God Hall over so that he could kill them one by one. Unfortunately, this time, he had miscalculated. The God Emperor had directly bestowed the people of the Heavenly God Hall with an Emperor weapon. It was a divine bridge that could stabilize one's power and body in this unstable secret realm. As long as they did not enter too deeply, they would be safe. Hao Run, this time, even if you have wings, you won't be able to escape. On a divine bridge, a dozen creatures came together. The person in the lead had an astonishing divine aura. It was as if he had the sun and moon above his head, and his feet stepped on the underworld. He was an extraordinary, true God expert. Shun Tsang, one of the God Emperor's proudest disciples, and also one of the most talented. He was equally famous as the Void Palace's Di Dian Tian. More than 100 years ago, when he and Hao Ren fought, the two of them were only tied. However, in the most recent confrontation, he was actually defeated by Hao Ren. This was something he could not tolerate. This time, he had brought the experts of the Heavenly God Hall. He had to kill Hao Ren. Hao Ren, who was standing on a floating rock, ignored the underworld winds to his left and right, as well as the floating force here. He looked at Shun Song, who was crossing the bridge, and said with a faint smile, Loser, you only brought so few people over. It's not enough to fill the gaps between my teeth, right? Howren was even younger than before. He looked like he was in the prime of his life. He was in high spirits, and his divine aura was restrained. He had already reached the realm of rejuvenation. Humph. Last time you were just lucky. This time, you won't have another chance. Shun Tsung coldly snorted. In the next moment, a great battle erupted. The divine bridge enveloped this heaven and earth, stopping some of the floating force. As long as there was no special power interfering, it would not hinder their battle. One after another, powerful true gods erupted with powerful power, violently attacking Howren. There were sharp, true god weapons, overbearing, peerless divine skills, and even unsolvable secret techniques. These were the foundation of the heavenly god hall. Each of them could walk unhindered in the divine world. It was indeed enough to deal with Howren. I dare to choose this place to wait for you. Do you think I'm waiting for death? Howren faced these attacks and sneered. A divine diagram was thrown out by him. The heavenly suppression diagram. This was his opportunity, a divine diagram that could suppress all living things. The moment the heavenly suppression diagram appeared, those attacks were all suppressed. Moreover, there was a boundless power of the formation that attacked those true gods. This heavenly suppression diagram was not inferior to an emperor-level divine weapon. It was even much stronger. All along, Howren had not used it. Now was the time. After the opponent's power was stopped, his figure rushed towards Shun Tsung like a dragon. His fist was like a star, and his aura was like a bull as he attacked them. The power of this fist also borrowed the power of the heavenly suppression diagram. It had at least reached the power of a boundary emperor. A true god of the four divine palaces who was closest to Howren was smashed to pieces by the fist. Now, Howren's strength had reached the Six Suns realm, and he had built 6 divine palaces. Each divine palace floated behind him. There were divine beasts, divine suns and moons, and all living things. These were the divine shadows after the divine palaces were built. Howren, no method can save you today. Shun Tsung roared. His arms turned into 2 divine blades and slashed at Howren. Divine arm blade. The arm was like a blade. Every slash was like a true god weapon. Ordinary true god weapons could not compare to it. In addition, the battle mark between his eyebrows floated, and power shot out from the battle mark. Innate soul mark extinction. It was another innate talent that targeted the divine court. It could suppress the soul of any living thing. Every innate talent was incomparably stunning. It's all the same old tricks. Can't you be a little more creative? Howren was like a demon god. His punches were like an inverted galaxy, blocking all of Shun Tsung's attacks. He could also divert his attention to resist the attacks of others. With the help of the heavenly suppression diagram, his power was even more terrifying. This time, Shun Tsung came prepared. He shouted, "What are you waiting for? Quickly set up the Dragon Lock Heavenly Formation and destroy him." Chapter 1788. Dragon Lock Heavenly Matrix. This was an extremely high-level matrix. Under the cooperation of several true god experts, a matrix flag flew out and sealed off all directions. As they poured their power into the matrix flag, divine chains frantically flew out and sealed off this area. Even a true dragon would be killed by them. This matrix also wanted to cut off the power of Howren and the matrix diagram. Unfortunately, it failed to do so. Howren carried the matrix diagram on his back. Like a demon god, he threw out one punch after another. The terrifying might was unstoppable. However, this Dragonlock Heavenly Matrix was indeed very strong. Under the cooperation of 8 true god experts, endless divine chains sealed off the area. They kept compressing the space and wanted to trap Howren within. At the same time, Shun Tsung also summoned a monarch weapon. It was the Heaven's Hatred Ruler, an ancient monarch weapon. He shouted fiercely, "Last time, I didn't bring a monarch weapon. This time I brought a monarch weapon. It's too difficult for you to live." He held the Heaven's Hatred Ruler and waved it down. The space was constantly torn apart. The power of the Matrix whipped Howren's body, leaving terrifying ruler marks on his body. If it wasn't for the heavenly suppression diagram, how Ren's divine body would have exploded. This little bit of power is not enough to kill me. I'll let you see the magic of this space. Howren didn't care about the injuries on his body. He shouted and poured his power into the heavenly suppression diagram. It turned into a torrent and crashed into the opponent's dragon lock heavenly matrix. It forcefully created a gap and headed straight for the divine bridge. You want to destroy my divine bridge? You're thinking too much. Shunsong shouted and threw out the heaven's hatred ruler. The heaven's hatred ruler turned into a huge ruler shadow and furiously smashed towards Howren. Such a tyrannical ruler wave, no one could stop it. This attack had the power of a boundary emperor. Rumble, rumble. The power in the area was exploding nonstop. The floating power in the area seemed to be disturbed by something. Suddenly, it started to flow in reverse crazily. The pieces of broken stones, they were like the sharpest power in reverse. They started to attack the real god there. Not good, we've been tricked. Quickly, get on the divine bridge. Shen Song shouted. Unfortunately, it was all too late. After the power here exploded, the divine bridge was almost overturned by the power here. There was a fluctuation of up and down power. Even if they were true gods, they could not stabilize their bodies. Some true gods couldn't make it to the divine bridge in time, and their bodies exploded from the impact of the reversed rocks. The divine bodies of these true gods were extremely tough, but they couldn't even withstand the reversal of the stones. It was clear how terrifying the reversal power was. Howren, on the other hand, allowed his body to move up and down along with the power of this place. Moreover, he was able to capture the trajectory of this place and avoid the impact of these stones. None of you can escape. Howren continued to urge the divine diagram to attack the divine bridge. This divine bridge was worthy of being an emperor's possession. Those true gods relied on it to resist the power of this place. Shinsong wiped away his killing intent and said, Howren, you won't be able to escape today. I'll let you experience the might of the divine bridge. In the next instant, he urged on the divine bridge's power, smashing towards Howren. You came just in time. I'll let you experience the power of my divine diagram. Howren laughed wildly and actually threw the divine diagram towards the divine bridge. Not good. Shinsong and the others' expressions instantly changed. Howren actually wanted to destroy the sky suppression diagram. He didn't put this emperor-level divine diagram in his eyes at all. Or rather, he wanted to use this divine diagram to exchange for the lives of these true gods. Rumble, rumble. The sky suppression diagram contained a terrifying power. When it disintegrated, the power it released was incomparably destructive. It collided with the divine bridge, and the divine bridge couldn't withstand this kind of explosion. It shattered on the spot. How could the creatures on the divine bridge dare to stay? They all flew off the divine bridge. When they didn't have the divine bridge's protection, there was a whirlpool's power that spun over, sucking in a true deity-level existence. No matter how he struggled, it was all to no avail. Countless rocks smashed over, and there was also a flood of power that swept out, making it impossible for these true deities to evade. In the blink of an eye, many creatures were killed by the power of the restriction here. Only the strongest 3 barely escaped with their lives. However, it wasn't that easy for them to survive here. Shun Tsang raised the heaven hatred ruler and erupted with the power of his divine palace. He forcefully supported his world. At the same time, he constantly flashed to avoid the power here. He barely escaped with his life. However, Howren used the power here to chase after him. Numerous fists containing powerful realms were thrown at him along with the power here. If I don't kill you, I'm not human. Shinsong was driven crazy by Howren. He directly threw out 2 true god weapons and directly detonated them. He had to kill Howren at all costs. 4 high-level true gods to fight in such a manner. It was truly unsightly. However, this environment was too strange. It was as if they were in the middle of an ocean. Up and down, a terrifying power would sweep over at any time. They couldn't display their true strength at all. A corner dog will jump over the wall. Hao Ren sneered and quickly retreated. He didn't want to stay here any longer. He knew that even if he continued to fight, he wouldn't be able to kill Shen Song and the other two. They were too strong, and the environment here couldn't do anything to them, unless they were willing to follow him into the depths. Shen Song and the other two naturally didn't dare. They quickly left this place, feeling stifled in their hearts. Apart from the God Emperor, no one can kill him. A person beside Shen Song's side. There's no need for that. When Martial Uncle makes his move, he won't be able to escape. Let's see how long he can escape. Shen Song was very indignant. They didn't stay in this forbidden area. They directly returned to the Heavenly God Palace to ask for more experts to help. At this moment, Yang Wu's group arrived at the Center God Province in a low-key manner. They were heading in this direction. Yang Wu never thought that he wouldn't be able to save his master in time. Instead, he would run into Shen Song and the other two high-level true gods. These three were all people who had condensed 6 divine palaces. Yang Wu had a quasi-emperor level true god, Jiang Zhanyu, by his side. He was originally Qiao Yinyan's personal guard, but now he was also transferred over. He was an expert who had condensed 5 divine palaces before he was 3,000 years old. There was also another living being. It was the Green Flame Divine Tiger. It was a powerful demon that the Medicine God Palace had been nurturing. It was slightly stronger than Jiang Zhanyu. It was a high-level true god demon called Reverend Green Flame. As the Young Hall Master of the Divine Medicine Hall, Yang Wu's status was extremely noble. If it were not for the fact that he had rushed over to save his master, the Divine Medicine Hall would have sent out invitations to all the major forces in the world to come and witness the event. Now that these 2 powerful living beings had come, it was enough to show that the Medicine God Palace was protecting Yang Wu. There's a very powerful aura. Jiang Zhanyu frowned as he looked ahead and muttered, "They're not weaker than us." Reverend Green Flame said. Just as they finished speaking, Shen Song and the other two had already appeared in front of Yang Wu's group. "Who are you?" Shen Song was in a bad mood. When he saw that Yang Wu's group had the strength of a true god, and they weren't from the Heavenly God Palace, he couldn't help but shout. Shen Song's aura surged as he rushed towards Yang Wu's group. He had a condescending appearance. When Yang Wu saw the battle mark between Shen Song's eyebrows, his killing, intense sword, he thought to himself, could it be that Master has already been killed by him? Shen Song and the other two were in a sorry state. With a single glance, he could tell that they had just experienced a great battle. Moreover, this place was not far from the immortal rank forbidden area. That was why he had such a thought. "Are you chasing after Hao Run?" Yang Wu asked in return. Shen Song's eyes twitched as he said, "It seems like you're in cahoots with Hao Run. He's already been killed by me." At this moment, he had already seen Jiang Zhanyu. He was someone from the Medicine God Palace. "Since you killed him, you'll be buried with him." Yang Wu's killing intent soared to the heavens. He waved his hand at his companions, indicating that they should make their move. Jiang Zhanyu transmitted his voice to Yang Wu. "He's Shen Song, the Emperor of the Heavenly God Palace." Good, good. The people of the Medicine God Palace are indeed in cahoots with Hao Run. Since you've delivered yourselves to us, we'll kindly accept it. Kill them. Shen Song ordered his companions. Besides Shen Song, there were 2 true gods from the 6 Gods Palace. One of them was wearing an ice-cold divine armor and looked like an ice god. He emitted an incomparably oppressive aura. This person was called Han Lai. He could be considered as Kuan Mingzi's half-master. Kuan Mingzi was an imperial prince, but the divine palace didn't teach him much. Most of the time, it was still Han Lai who taught him. The other true god was wearing a golden armor. He had the golden bloodline and was called Tai 9. "I alone am enough to take them down," Han Lai faintly said. His eyes emitted a cold aura. In an instant, heaven and earth became incomparably cold. Layers of ice crystals formed, wanting to freeze Yang Wu's group. Your tone is really big." Jiang Zhanyu coldly snorted. He stepped forward and sent out a palm strike. Heaven-splitting divine palm. A palm strike that could split heaven and earth apart contained boundless power. Pa! The ice crystals that had just formed immediately cracked. Not only so, but Jiang Zhanyu also rushed toward Han Lai like a dragon, punching out furiously. Each of his punches contained incomparably condensed divine chains of the martial path. One could even faintly see the shadow of a dragon soaring up behind him. This person, who was called the #1 true god in the younger generation by the Medicine God Palace, was definitely not weak. You have some ability, but that's all there is to it, Han Lai said in disdain. He took out the battle blade on his back and slashed out. Heaven and earth instantly formed an ice blade that enveloped Jiang Zhanyu. The surroundings were instantly frozen into ice crystals. The absolute ice chi was extremely shocking. The 6 god palaces behind him were all ice-cold worlds. This meant that the true god materials he used to construct the palaces were all extremely cold items. Your mouth is full of shit. Use your strength to speak, Jiang Zhanyu replied domineeringly. Dragon-shaped armaments appeared on his arms. He was like a true dragon. The tyrannical dragon-shaped battle, chi crushed towards Han Lai. The 2 powerful true gods clashed together crazily. The battle was incomparably intense. You have to pay with your life for killing my master. Let's take them down together. Chapter 1789. Reverend Qing, Yin made his move. This was a monster that was not inferior to the 6 gods' palace. He turned into a blazing green sun and rushed towards Tai Jusue. Sun-devouring moon. Reverend Qing, Yin made his move and used his ultimate move. His claws were like a tiger's head as they tried to devour Tai Jusue. Humph. A mere old monster dares to act fierce in front of me? Scram. Tai Jusue had been famous for many years. He was even praised as a quasi-emperor level expert. Unfortunately, he had been delayed all these years and had not been able to make any progress. Surrounded by golden blood chi, he looked like a golden giant. He took a step forward and threw an indestructible fist at Reverend Qing Yin. When these 2 experts clashed, it was easier said than done to determine the victor. Jiang Zhanyu and Reverend Qing Yin already had opponents. Who could fight against Shun Azure? One had to know that Shun Azure was the strongest expert. Where did Yang Wu get the confidence to fight against Shun Azure? In Aoli by Yi and Lu Ji beside Yang Wu. Were they qualified to be Shun Azure's opponents? In Aoli and Bai did not think too much. They split into 2 directions and used their talents to envelop Shun Azure. Lu Ji, on the other hand, was slower by half a beat. It wasn't that he was afraid of death, but that he was the true trump card. If anyone dared to underestimate him, who was only in the 2 suns realm, they would suffer a great loss. In Aoli turned into a bull demon king and charged towards Shun Azure. This charge could overturn the sky. Bai Yi released a terrifying poisonous fog and a sharp bewitching power. He cooperated with In Aoli to attack Shun Azure. Light of a firefly. Shin Song sneered and raised his long arm. When his arm fell down, it directly sent In Aoli flying. On top of that, his body had an invisible flame. It burned away Bai Yi's poison. Some of the fire landed on Bai Yi's body. Bai Yi's true god body was burned, and he screamed in pain. The 2 mid-level true god life forms were no match for the Azure deity. After the 2 of them were injured, Lu Ji followed from behind. His hands continuously formed seals, forming a formation that enveloped Shun Song. Activate my myriad dragons, devouring formation, Lu Ji said calmly. He activated all of his power. The formation runes released from his palm turned into countless dragon shapes and rushed toward Shun Song. Lu Ji's arrayed Dao was unparalleled, integrating formations into martial arts. Its destructive power was even more unstoppable. Not only that, but he also had a yin-yang divine sword in his hand. This was something he had obtained from the Slayer of the Archmystic Realm. As long as Shun Song broke through, he would use the power of yin and yang to slay him. Shun Song felt a trace of threat. However, when the energy from his forehead shot towards Lu Ji, his array formation paused for a moment. At this moment, he had already rushed out like a dragon. A divine arm blade descended from the sky. Lu Ji was scared out of his wits. Just when he thought he was done for, a bell rang. Dong! This voice rang out in Shun Song's ears. but it still couldn't stop him from wanting to kill Lu Ji. Fortunately, there was a power that restrained Lu Ji from Shun Tsang's attack range. Yang Wu made his move. The soul bell hung above his head. The electric fork carried primal chaos divine lightning and struck towards Shun Tsang. He had no reason to hold back. If Shun Tsang didn't die, he would die. At this moment, Yang Wu's divine palace's power completely exploded. He was like a volcano that was erupting with power that no one could stop. The primal chaos divine lightning contained in the electric fork was as terrifying as the primal chaos divine lightning that descended when he refined the 6 tribulation true God pill. He had absorbed a total of 8 types of mysterious essence chi. The Supreme 9 Mysteries art was also completely displayed. In addition, he had the immortal immortality peach tree's divine palace in his dantian. You have some skills. Shun Tsang raised his eyebrows. He waved his divine palm and attacked. It was as if the sky was collapsing. The palm contained boundless martial Tao divine chains. Its destructive power was naturally extraordinary. Rumble, rumble. The two forces intertwined, causing the surrounding space to continuously collapse. The commotion caused was too great. After Yang Wu and Shun Tsang exchanged blows, he didn't stop. The electric fork's talent was activated. The boundless electric fork formed a sea of primal chaos divine lightning and enveloped Shun Tsang within it. It caused him to feel a great pressure. Primal chaos power? I have it too. Shun Tsang shouted. A primal chaos gravitational field appeared. Countless meteorites exploded and crazily collided with Yang Wu's primal chaos divine lightning. This was also one of his divine abilities. Yang Wu was facing the power of such a divine-level creature head-on. He was still shocked. He thought to himself, as expected of a true god at the imperial level. Fortunately, I have cultivated bitterly for more than 100 years. Otherwise, it would be difficult for me to face him head-on. These two completely different primal chaos auras caused many strange phenomena to appear. It shocked all the living beings in the space below. A portion of the living beings were so frightened that they didn't dare to come out. Even divine-level living beings were so frightened by these strange phenomena that they fell from mid-air. A large area of primal chaos appeared continuously. The living beings in the distance thought that some divine item had appeared. After a round of collision, Yang Wu's primal chaos electric fork was shattered by the other party's primal chaos meteorites. He was also ruthlessly hit by those meteorites. Blood splattered in midair. Even if he borrowed the power of an immortal weapon, he was still much weaker than the other party. However, he didn't plan to stop here. He wanted to test how strong his divine palace was. Shun Tsang pressed forward step by step. Many meteorites crazily smashed onto Yang Wu's body, causing Yang Wu to spit out blood continuously. In Aoli and by E couldn't help at all. However, Lu Ji could. Lu Ji used his blood to draw formation. Formation runes appeared in the center of his palm. His essence blood accompanied them. He released a Tai Chi diagram. Very quickly, a Tai Chi blood diagram appeared. His handsome face had a demonic look. He shouted, "Lord, move aside. Let him have a taste of my power." Tai Chi blood formation. This was a Tai Chi blood formation filled with the power of black and white. It had the terrifying power to destroy all life. This was Lu Ji's true strength. He was rarely so angry. Today, he was really going all out. When the Tai Chi blood formation enveloped Shun Tsang, his heaven's hatred ruler appeared in his hand. He directly swung it. The Tai Chi blood formation was almost shattered. This was an emperor weapon. Its power was too strong. You want to deal with me with this little formation power? You think too highly of yourself. Shun Tsang said with disdain. Is that so? Then I'll add more. Lu Ji replied. He also threw the yin-yang divine sword into the formation. In addition, he also tore apart a few divine formation diagrams. As a divine formation master, how could he not have some divine formation diagrams with him? Now, in the divine passage residence, who didn't want to buy Lu Ji's divine formation diagrams? The power of these divine formation diagrams was different. Some were like a rain of swords. Some were like heavenly blades slashing down. and somewhat like the sound of a divine bell. After the yin-yang divine sword entered the Tai Chi blood formation, it became a murderous weapon, crazily slashing at Shun Song. Shun Song was annoyed by these powers. He waved the heaven's hatred ruler, shattering all of these powers. The chaotic meteorite field was forcefully pushed forward, crushing towards Lu Ji. Streaks of power that could break through the 9 heavens landed on the divine formation diagrams, shattering them one after another. During this process, the yin-yang divine sword borrowed the power of the Tai Chi blood formation to injure Shun Song. It's like you really deserve to die. Shun Song was thoroughly angry. He was already sullen for being beaten up by Hao Run in the Broken Plate Land. Here, he was even injured by these weak creatures. All of a sudden, he opened his mouth and let out a terrifying roar. Heaven's roar. This tsunami-like sound wave shook the area into the void. Lu Ji's eardrums exploded. He directly vomited blood and was sent flying. The Tai Chi blood formation collapsed. The difference is too big. Lu Ji only felt dizzy. Before he could react, a terrifying palm landed on his body, directly sending him flying. Pooh! At this moment, it was unknown whether Lu Ji was dead or alive. At this moment, Yang Wu's big move was finally completed. A divine palace appeared behind him. This divine palace was like a celestial realm. There were many immortal peach trees, immortals flying in the immortal forest, and countless auspicious beasts appeared. There were also suns, moons, and stars that were indeterminable. He was like a fairy descending, surrounded by immortal energy. He was incomparably dazzling. He held the electric fork and true god yin spear in his hands and waved them over at the same time. The immortal energy of the divine palace exploded at the same time, pushing his power to the extreme. The black and white lotus contained a celestial realm. Under the cover of the celestial realm, everything was mortal. The heaven-hating ruler lashed out. Waves of fire rushed into the sky, but there was no way to disperse the black and white lotus. There was also an aura of life and death that began to affect his vitality, which surprised him. The path of reincarnation. The black and white lotus was the path of life and death, and what was imprinted in the celestial realm was not only the path of life and death. There was also the path of black tortoise, the star-swallowing sword path, the path of the void, the path of killing. All kinds of martial arts intertwined to form the power of the divine palace, all in this move. It was hard to imagine that this was the power of a divine palace. Which divine palace could imprint so many martial arts? Even the power of 5 or 6 divine palaces could not be more than this. This was not the main point. The main point was that the immortal energy contained their improved martial arts. Perhaps it would eventually transform into the path of immortality. This was terrifying. I know who you are. Hao Ren's disciple, the young emperor of the Medicine God Palace, Yang Wu. There is a path to heaven, but you do not want to take it. There is no door to hell, but you want to barge in. I will let you see the difference between us. Then, 6 divine palaces appeared. There were divine birds, ancestors of the human race, creatures of different races, and all kinds of divine weapons. The martial arts imprinted in each divine palace were different. He had cultivated a lot of martial arts. After gathering together, it was as if he had returned to an ancient world and collided with Yang Wu's celestial realm. The battle of the divine palaces was also a battle of martial arts. Rumble, rumble. This space was completely crushed by the power of the divine palaces, turning into a land of nothingness. Shun Song's power still had a slight advantage, but he did not have much of an advantage. However, this was not his strongest move. He used his strongest talent, Hand of God. Suddenly, a palm that covered heaven and earth grabbed Yang Wu, who could not dodge in time. Die, Shun Song said with a strong, killing intent. My disciple is not someone you can kill. Chapter 1790. Hand of Heaven. This was an innate skill that contained the power of immortals. It was God Azure's most powerful innate skill. God knew how many true God-level creatures he had killed before. Just when he thought he could kill Yang Wu, a tyrannical fist came crashing down like a star, aiming to kill him. This fist came at the right time, and it was incomparably sudden. Even God Azure couldn't sense it. Before he could kill Yongwu, he was sent flying by this fist. If he wasn't wearing the divine robe of quasi-emperor level, this fist could have killed him. Hao Run, you actually dare to come out. God Azure didn't need to look to know that Hao Run had come out. He roared, and the heavens' hatred ruler rushed towards Hao Run. Loser, you think you can do anything to me just because you have an emperor-level weapon? It was indeed Hao Run who came. His fists were suffused with boundless radiance, and an invincible willpower pervaded the air. With a punch, it was as if a huge star was crashing down. He was wearing quasi-emperor-level gloves on his fists, and it was increasing his strength. He wasn't afraid of God Azure at all. It's really master. Yongwu was incomparably happy. Call your people and prepare to leave. The Divine Emperor will definitely kill his way here. Hao Ren's voice entered Yongwu's ears. Yongwu was shocked and hurriedly transmitted a message to his companions. Prepare to retreat. The true god-level creatures reacted very quickly and quickly approached Yongwu, and Hao Ren's willpower enveloped them, and he no longer tangled with God Azure. He brought Yongwu's group and quickly headed towards the broken plate. Just when they were fleeing, an incomparably terrifying willpower descended. An incomparably terrifying palm fell down like a piece of space, and its target was Hao Ren's group. If God Azure's innate skill was called heaven, then this palm that appeared could be called a mortal's palm. It was as if heaven and earth were just a matter of a palm. You guys go first, enter the broken plate. Hao Ren threw Yongwu's group to the front and faced the incoming palm strike alone. His eyes were like the sun and moon. His long hair fluttered in the wind. His battle intent was unrivaled as he loudly shouted, "So what if the God Emperor is here? I will trample all of you." Immediately afterward, all of his power was raised to the extreme. The martial arts of the 6 divine palaces erupted, and he threw out a punch that looked down on the world. This punch contained the hatred he had for the heavenly palace for so many years, as well as his extreme martial arts. He only cultivated a single Tao, and that was the astral martial Tao. It was an extreme fist that transformed complexity into simplicity and possessed shocking might. This was the insufferably arrogant Hao Run. As the fist and palm collided, a devastating explosion occurred in this space, affecting an area of tens of thousands of kilometers. Puff! Hao Ren spat out a mouthful of blood, and his figure flew out for an unknown distance. His internal organs were displaced, and cracks appeared on his divine palace. His foundation had been injured, as expected of a god emperor. If you have the ability, then enter the broken plate land. Hao Ren left behind these ruthless words and rushed towards the broken plate land. In the distant sky, it was as if a colorful cloud swept past, and an imposing figure flew over. Shun Tsang, Han Lai, and Tai Chusei respectfully said, "Greetings to Master, God Emperor, the Master of the Heavenly God Palace, the God Emperor." This was an existence that stood at the peak of the divine realm. He had already established 9 sons and was unrivaled in the present age. "Go to the broken plate land," the God Emperor indifferently said, and with a single step he crossed 10,000 li. The broken plate land was also known as the immortal forbidden area. Without reaching the immortal realm, anyone who entered would have a 90% chance of dying. However, once one reached the immortal realm, who would still stay in the divine realm? The God Emperor had once entered the broken plate land and saw some clues about it. In the end, he didn't enter and absorbed all of the immortal energy within. Unless one reached the half-immortal realm, one would have the chance to enter. Unfortunately, there were countless immortal realm cultivators, but only a few were able to enter. The child of fate has appeared, and the road to becoming an immortal is right in front of us. This was the reason why the God Emperor appeared. As long as he took away Yongwu's fate, he could enter the human realm, steal the power of the world spirit, and become an immortal in a single step. This was the best shortcut. As for Hao Run, he never cared about him. If his disciple, Shun Tsang, couldn't deal with him, then he could only blame himself for not being skilled enough. Yang Wu's group had already arrived at the Broken Plate Land. When Hao Run arrived later, he wrapped them up and rushed in. This Broken Plate Land has a way to reverse the airflow. Whoever rushes in and touches the airflow will either be crushed or bounce back. Try to comprehend it. If you can comprehend the key point, you can barely move around outside, and you won't be killed. Otherwise, if anyone dares to move without permission, they will undoubtedly die. Hao Ren's voice entered Yang Wu's group's ears and could be considered a reminder. Master, it's great to see you again. Yang Wu was incomparably excited. You've already become a stray dog. What's so good about that? Hao Ren said unhappily. After a pause, he praised, However, your improvement is very fast, as expected of my disciple. Oh right, where's your junior sister? Junior sister is in my territory. When she heard that something happened to you, she was extremely anxious. If I didn't stop her, she would have already followed. Yang Wu replied, I knew it. Nan Nan is still the best. Hao Ren was very satisfied. Yang Wu instantly felt bad. He came from far away, but his position in Hao Ren's heart couldn't compare to Yang Nu's. This was too difficult. At the same time, Yang Wu sensed the aura flowing in this world. He felt that it was a little familiar, as if he had seen it somewhere before. Pung! All of a sudden, a burst of power tore through the air and came crashing down on where they were. If it wasn't for the countercurrent power weakening this power, they would definitely be killed. The God Emperor actually came in. Hao Ren frowned and increased his speed as he went in. This Broken Plate Land was like a vast ocean, bobbing up and down from time to time. The pressure was incomparably terrifying, and even true gods could be crushed. It was definitely a forbidden land. Hao Ren explored this place for a while, and only after understanding the trajectory of this place could he go against the current. However, the deeper he went, the greater the pressure and the greater the danger. The God Emperor chased closely behind, as if completely ignoring the countercurrent power here. If this continued, Hao Ren and the others would be caught before long. Hao Ren's pressure became greater and greater, and he broke out in a cold sweat. At this time, Yang Wu shouted, Master, put me down. At this moment, they were all in Hao Ren's heaven and earth sleeve. What are you doing? I should be able to adapt to the environment here. Young Hall Master, don't be impulsive. Jiang Zhanyu said. He felt that this space was strange and terrifying, and he didn't want anything to happen to Yang Wu. Are you sure? Hao Ren asked back. I won't do something I'm not sure of. Yang Wu replied, and summoned the bronze cauldron. He handed it to his master and said, Master can use it to defend against the God Emperor's attack. Will it work? Hao Ren asked doubtfully. Yang Wu didn't have time to reply before a sharp power shot over. It was a small finger light that broke through layers of barriers and shot towards them. Although the power was small, if they were hit, it would definitely explode with an incomparably terrifying power. Yang Wu didn't hesitate to use the bronze cauldron to block in front of his master. Bang! The tyrannical finger light landed on the bronze cauldron, and the powerful vibration fiercely knocked them inside. However, the finger light didn't penetrate the bronze cauldron to injure them, which showed how powerful the bronze cauldron was. Master, why aren't you controlling the cauldron? Yang Wu shouted. Good fellow, with it, we won't die for now. Hao Ren replied, and stuffed the others into the cauldron. He held the cauldron with all his strength, blocking the God Emperor's attack. Yang Wu fell outside, and his body was blown away by the countercurrent, and a meteorite fiercely crashed towards him. Stinking brat, didn't you say that you can adapt to the environment here? Hao Ren scolded, and threw the bronze cauldron over, smashing the meteorite and blocking the attack for Yang Wu. Otherwise, if this attack didn't take his life, he would be knocked into an unknown place. The most terrifying thing here was the whirlpools. If one was sucked into them, even if they didn't die, they wouldn't know where they would be transferred to. Back then, Hao Ren had used this method to appear in the God realm. The power of the divine palace on Yang Wu's body surged, and the immortal chief forcefully stabilized his body. The power of the battle soul was released, enveloping the countercurrent space and sensing the trajectory here. After a while, his face revealed a smile. Sure enough, it's as I thought. This is the Black Tortoise Tao. At the same time, the Black Tortoise battle armor appeared on his body. There were streams of aura flowing on the armor, like the 8 trigrams divine diagram, filled with a profound aura. Howren glanced at it and exclaimed, "This is the 8 trigrams formation." This isn't the 8 trigrams formation, it's the innate tortoise shell diagram similar to the 8 trigrams. Lu Ji, who was inside the bronze cauldron, could still sense everything outside and couldn't help but reply. Tortoise shell? Could it be that this broken space is a broken tortoise shell? Howrun let his imagination run wild. He didn't have time to think too much. The Divine Emperor was already close to their position. The Divine Emperor continuously formed seals, and a sparkling palm broke through the power here and slapped towards Howrun. Not only that, there were also streams of gentle power that turned into tentacles, avoiding the countercurrent power and binding Yangwu. "Don't make a futile struggle," the Divine Emperor faintly said. He possessed great strength, but he didn't dare to forcefully break through the power here, or he would suffer an even greater backlash. Howren carried the cauldron to block, but was once again beaten until he spat out blood and rolled on the ground. He was even hit by a small stone, and his divine body almost exploded, and his body became more and more unstable. Little Wu quickly dodged. Howren cried out in alarm. At this moment, Yangwu suddenly swept through this world, completely fusing with it. The martial divine chains released by his black tortoise battle armor were actually separated from his place. "Ha! As expected, this is my blessed land." Yangwu laughed wildly, and the power of the battle armor on his body fluctuated, forcibly repelling the gentle power that was probing over. Not only that, but he also flew towards his master, bringing his master into the depths, and shouted provocatively at the Divine Emperor, "If you have the ability, follow me." This was a provocation to the Divine Emperor's might. Chapter 1791. Land of Broken Plate. In this space, layers of rocks floated in the air. The energy field was constantly flowing in reverse. The destructive power it produced was even more terrifying than the power of an emperor-level existence. Whoever dared to enter would die. Ordinary, true, immortal-level existences only dared to move around the periphery. Apart from the legendary immortal Qi, there were no other divine objects here. This was also why no one dared to take the risk and come here to investigate. In the past, only emperor-level existences entered. Apart from obtaining a trace of immortal Qi, they didn't find anything special. Of course, they could also feel the indescribable rules here like Yangwu. However, it wasn't easy to comprehend these rules. Even if Howren's perception was astonishing, he still couldn't compare to those emperor-level existences. However, Yangwu was different. After arriving here, he felt a familiar feeling. He quickly understood that this was the place where the Black Tortoise path condensed. It was completely condensed according to the Black Tortoise shell's power. After he released the Black Tortoise battle armor and used his martial path, he could merge with the power here and avoid many dangers. Apart from this, there's also a type of water power floating here. Without the Black Tortoise path, one couldn't adapt to this power. After Yangwu provoked the Divine Emperor, he accelerated and rushed in. Not only did the dangerous reversal power not cause him too much damage, but it also deepened his understanding of the way of the Black Tortoise. He released the divine chains of the Divine Palace and merged them with the power here. It was as if he had become a part of this place. He could clearly sense the operation of all the power here. Even the suction power of the vortex that suddenly emerged was avoided by him. As for the Divine Emperor behind him, he frowned and muttered, comprehending the mysteries here. After a pause, he said, "Since it's like this, then I'll let you die here." In the next moment, the Divine Emperor's divine halo enveloped him. A terrifying power erupted from his body. Divine Palm. Everyone in the Divine Palace knew the Divine Palm, but only the Divine Emperor could unleash its essence to the strongest realm. A palm enveloped over. The power of the land of broken plate instantly began to circulate crazily. "Madman," Howren scolded. "Master, don't worry. Let's go," Yangwu shouted. With the bronze cauldron above his head, he accelerated and rushed inside. Rumble, rumble. The land of broken plates, power exploded. Countless stones were blasted to pieces. The reverse power became even more rapid. Many vortexes that seemed to swallow the sky erupted. The divine light of the god emperor enveloped Yi Futian and forcefully blocked these forces. However, his body was still pushed back. When a vortex came to envelop him, he clenched his fist and actually shattered the vortex. This was the power of emperors. How terrifying was that? The Nine-Sun realm was already extremely close to the immortal realm. The god emperor still withdrew from the broken plate, but he didn't leave. His divine sense continued to cover the area, not allowing Yang Wu, Hao Run, and the others to escape. Master, Shinsong came to the god emperor's side and said respectfully, "Yes, master," Shinsong replied. Then he joined forces with Han Lai and Tai 9 years old to seal this place. The divine emperor sat in the void. He disappeared into the void. No one discovered his existence. Only his eyes were staring at the land of broken plate. He looked at the trajectory of the vortexes and murmured, Zhen was already passed away. Yet, he still left behind such a powerful place. I will erase it one day. This was the domineering nature of the divine emperor. Yang Wu and his group did not die in the land of broken plate. Although the divine emperor's attack was powerful, the reverse power of the land of broken plate had completely dissipated. The bronze cauldron above his head enveloped him, resolving many dangers. However, the more they entered, the more Yang Wu could not control himself. Although the power did not harm him, it was still difficult for him to resist the terrifying devouring power. Ah! They screamed wildly. Their bodies were sucked into the largest vortex in the center. When they came back to their senses, they were already in a small, independent space. This place was very similar to the immortal realm in the true God's small world. It was also a place of immortal realm. There were many divine items here, and the density of immortal chi was even greater. This is a great opportunity, Haoren said excitedly. That is what you say. However, it is definitely not so easy to obtain, Yang Wu replied. A voice rang out. This is the place where I sat in seclusion in the past to comprehend the black tortoise immortal path. Now, those who are fated have entered. They can also try to comprehend the black tortoise immortal path. The one sitting there was not an immortal, but rather an old immortal turtle. It was already about to lose its teeth. There were cracks on its shell, as if it would die at any moment. This old immortal turtle was not a living creature, either. It was merely a clone. Moreover, it was condensed from immortal chi. Only by destroying it would this immortal chi collapse and scatter. Dragon turtle? Yang Wu looked at this turtle and cried out in surprise. He had been cultivating for many years. What he missed the most was the dragon turtle sea overturning technique he had obtained back then. It was this move that helped him defeat powerful enemies. Today, seeing a dragon turtle here made him feel extremely close. Wasn't this place rumored to be left behind by the true martial great emperor? It seems that is not the case, Haoren muttered. I once followed the great emperor, but my aptitude was limited. Although I comprehended the black tortoise immortal path, unfortunately, I was unable to complete the transformation, the old immortal turtle said. Then it said, Come, accept the inheritance. In the next moment, a vast ocean appeared. A majestic tsunami enveloped Yang Wu's group. The power here was even more terrifying than the shattered land outside, but did not have much destructive power. Whoever could comprehend the black tortoise immortal path would be able to obtain the inheritance. This meant that there had to be someone among them who could comprehend the tsunami. Pupiu, in Aoli, by E, and the others were repelled one after another. Not long after, Lu Ji was also pushed out. This military advisor's comprehension ability is astonishing. I have also studied the 8 trigrams formation, yet I cannot comprehend this immortal path. Lu Ji was unconvinced. He charged in again. Not long after, Haoren was also pushed out. It's impossible to comprehend it in a short time. It's all up to Wu-er, Haoren muttered to himself. He did not enter again. If no one among them could comprehend it, the immortal path here would have nothing to do with them. In the tsunami, Yang Wu completely released the black tortoise immortal path's divine chains. He could barely adapt to the environment here, but he discovered that the black tortoise immortal path released here was even more profound than what he had comprehended. There were many irregular operating methods that even he had never imagined. They are all black tortoise immortal paths. There must be something in common. Yang Wu muttered to himself. He began to meditate. It was as if he had transformed into a dragon turtle. He walked on the waves. The waves were surging, the tsunamis were roaring, and the vortexes were madly condensing. The dragon turtle was still moving forward, unmoved. At this moment, he once again used the dragon turtle sea-turning art. A fist and a palm stirred up heaven and earth. Strands of immortal chi were released from his body. They fused with the power here. His divine quartz soul kept flickering. He quickly meditated and cultivated. He understood more and more how powerful the black tortoise immortal path was. It was far from what his black tortoise immortal path could compare with. He needed a deeper understanding. There was no end to learning. Sure enough, this was the case. Yang Wu released the divine palace, which illuminated the surroundings. Small whirlpools condensed, and blue water Xian Qi converged to form a vast sea. The dragon turtle walked against the wind and the waves, unaffected by all of this. The black tortoise immortal path is indeed not that simple. The black tortoise is called the water god. It also needs the understanding of the power of water. The combination of the two forms an invisible force. It is unpredictable. This is the true immortal path of black tortoise. Yang Wu understood. The black tortoise armor on his body kept changing. The flowing 8 trigrams diagram operated with the power of different laws. It was either moving with the flow or counteracting the flow. There was also the power of strangulation. This was the ultimate black tortoise immortal path. The old immortal turtle looked at Yang Wu and smiled faintly. My mission is finally completed. I can be at ease now. The power of the vast sea disappeared. It turned into a ball of immortal light and engulfed Yang Wu. It was the power of immortal chi and the inheritance of the black tortoise immortal path. The immortal peach tree quickly snatched the food. Any immortal chi was its power to grow. Yang Wu's divine palace also needed a large amount of immortal chi. Its power kept increasing. The immortal path of black tortoise condensed on the wall of the divine palace in his dantian. It became more and more dazzling. Yang Wu's aura rose again. At this moment, immortal chi in his divine palace erupted from the thousands of holes in his dantian. Strands of immortal chi began to nourish his organs. First, it nourished his kidneys and heart. These were the places where he already had talent. After being nourished by the immortal chi in his divine palace, their vitality was incomparably rich. Their talent was even stronger. They were like the sun, emitting a dazzling light. These were the other 2 divine palaces that belonged to him. Although he only built one divine palace, he used the divine palace in his dantian to nourish his other organs. It was also branded with the divine chain of the martial path. It became a divine palace that did not need any materials to build. Once he built these 2 divine palaces to the highest level, he could build other divine palaces. This was a different divine palace. It was also a new technique that he created himself. As for whether he could unleash the power of 3 divine palaces, he did not know. He had explored the path. Combined with the immortal path that Little Hay had mentioned, he felt that it was possible. Hao Run, Lu Ji, and the others also benefited. There was a lot of immortal chi scattered around. After they absorbed it, their strength increased by a lot. The rules here are very similar to the Broken Plate Land. I can study it. Lu Ji observed the layout of this small space. He opened his yin-yang eye and observed the environment. Jiang Zhanyu, Reverend Qin Yin, Yin Aoli, and Bai Yi began to search for the true God's items. Hao Run was comprehending the heaven and earth. He was exploring what the immortal path was. He was also exploring his own immortal path. In the future, he would also take this step. Yang Wu opened his eyes and waved in a direction. Pseudo-immortal soldier, come here. Chapter 1792. Pseudo-immortal weapon. That was a powerful weapon above Emperor weapons. Did the space have it? Outside, in the broken space, the power was frantically converging. Floating rocks fell down one after another. Among them, there were many strange things that were hard for others to notice. They kept shrinking and finally gathered together to form a tortoise-shell-like object. It was emitting boundless light. The divine eyes of the divine emperor, who was guarding outside, twitched. He stretched out a huge palm and grabbed towards a tortoise-shell-like object. The palm energy that covered the sky and earth contained the universe. It could even grab a city. However, when it came into contact with the tortoise-shell-like object, there was a strong rebounding force that sent his palm flying. So powerful. The divine emperor raised his eyebrows and grabbed with both his palms at the same time. However, before his palm could grab it, the tortoise-shell-like object entered the huge whirlpool and disappeared. After this space lost its forbidden power, it turned into a wasteland. It was no different from other places. Master, what is going on? Shinsong flew over and asked. You can see what is going on, the divine emperor said indifferently. Could it be that Master's divine power is unparalleled and he erased this forbidden area? Shinsong's bootlicking skill was not bad. However, the divine emperor did not accept it. Instead, he scolded, "Idiot! Someone obtained the inheritance of this forbidden area. That's why this place disappeared. Immediately, put out a bounty to capture Yang Wu of the Medicine God Palace. Whoever can provide clues about him will be rewarded with a high-grade True God weapon. Whoever can capture him alive will be rewarded with a pseudo-emperor weapon." Master suspects that he obtained the inheritance of this place? Does that even need to be said? The Divine Palace suddenly put out a bounty for Yang Wu. It immediately caused a huge commotion in the divine world. Many people did not understand why the Divine Palace put out such a high bounty today. Only after some people learned about this did they realize that Yang Wu was no longer simply the son of fortune from many years ago. He was now the young emperor and young hall master of the Medicine God Palace. It was no wonder that the Divine Palace would offer such a high bounty. Were the two Divine Palaces going to fight head-on? After the Heavenly God Palace issued the arrest warrant, Su Kong also spoke, offering the same bargaining chip as the Heavenly God Palace. For a time, Yang Wu's name shook the entire divine world. He was probably the first person in the past 10,000 years to be targeted by both temples at the same time. The Medicine God Temple naturally didn't back down. The 9 Hall Masters announced at the same time that anyone who dared to go against Yang Wu would be an enemy of the Medicine God Temple. Furthermore, they would terminate all cooperation with the 2 great temples. The Medicine God Temple was the divine palace for alchemists in the divine realm. They had the most orthodox inheritance, and their rallying power was incomparably shocking. Their ending of cooperation with these 2 divine palaces had a great impact on the 2 divine palaces, especially the subordinate forces of these 2 divine palaces. But no matter what, things had already happened. It was not something they could change. It all depended on whether the 3 divine halls would eventually collide. In the small celestial realm, a tortoise shield appeared in Yang Wu's hand. It was formed by the broken disc round. It should be said that the broken disc round was originally formed by a pseudo-immortal weapon tortoise shield. It suppressed this space and searched for the successor of the immortal path. After Yang Wu obtained the immortal path inheritance, he naturally became the owner of this tortoise shield. The old immortal tortoise was the weapon spirit of this pseudo-immortal weapon. Howren woke up from his comprehension and asked, "Good boy, you can get a pseudo-immortal weapon so easily. This is the guy who created the broken disc round, right?" Yang Wu nodded and said, "Yes, master. It's called the Profound Disc Shield, a pseudo-immortal weapon." After saying that, he threw the pseudo-immortal weapon to his master. If others saw him throw it so casually, they would curse him for wasting God's gift. Howren took it and sized it up. He put on his arm and waved it a few times. Waves of divine light flickered, and then he laughed. A pseudo-immortal weapon can suppress at least 90% of true God experts. If you meet D. Shur Tian again, you will be in an invincible position. You can even teach him a lesson. Master fought with Di Shi Tian before? Yang Wu asked curiously. Di Shi Tian's name had already shaken the divine realm. He was the son of the Void Emperor and had unparalleled talent. Moreover, he was already regarded as the most promising candidate to become the new emperor. Yes, that guy's Void Dao is too hard to defend against. Moreover, his realm is higher than mine. It won't be easy to defeat him. Haoren replied frankly. Then he threw the pseudo-immortal shield back to Yang Wu and said, "Take it well. You also have the strength of a true god. With it, you could defeat many experts. Master, you should take it. Its attribute is not suitable for me. Moreover, I also have an emperor weapon. I don't need to rely on it." The master and disciple talked for half a day. They told each other about their experiences in the past few years. Both of them sighed. "Master, what do you plan to do next?" Yang Wu asked. "Other than dealing with the heavenly god palace, there seems to be nothing else to do for the time being." Haoren thought for a moment and said, all these years, he had been thinking about reviving the heavenly palace. After coming to the divine realm, he realized how laughable his persistence was. The heavenly god palace was too powerful. It was too difficult for him to destroy it with his own strength. Sometimes, he thought that his persistence was a bit laughable. However, it was precisely because of this persistence that he had the glory he had today. As a rogue cultivator, there were probably not many who could compare with an emperor-level true god. "Master, let's do something big," Yang Wu said very seriously. Then he said, "Now that I am the young hall master of the Medicine God Palace, my status is no small matter. Moreover, I have also established the Martial Profound Gang. I hope that Master can go over and oversee it." "You want Master to rely on you? A teacher for a day, a father for life." "Ha, good. Just based on these words of yours, you and I will build a divine palace." At this moment, the master and disciple were filled with ambition. Currently, there were only 5 divine palaces in the divine realm. Haoren opened his mouth and said that he wanted to build a divine palace. His tone was not ordinary. In Aoli and Bai returned one after another. They gave all the divine items they found to Yang Wu. Yang Wu did not stand on ceremony and took them all. Jiang Zhanyu and Reverend Qing Yin also had their own gains. Once Lu Ji completely comprehended this place, they could leave. This small space would not be able to hide for long without the cover of the broken disc. Several days later, Lu Ji walked around this place and memorized everything. It would be greatly beneficial for his research on formations. Yang Wu also gave the profound disc shield to Lu Ji to explore. Lu Ji's gains were not small. On this day, they left this small space. Yang Wu had the profound disc shield. With the power of the whirlpool it released, he could easily bring them away. Not only did the profound disc shield have unparalleled defensive power, it was also a sky-piercing shuttle. The power of the whirlpool could tear apart space, allowing them to quickly move to another place. The group reappeared in the Center God Province. They immediately retracted their auras and quickly left. They did not dare to use the spatial gate. The people of the Heavenly God Temple would not let them go so easily. At their level of strength, ordinary people would not be able to discover their existence. After crossing 3 prefectures, they landed on the prefectures below and prepared to return through the spatial gate. When they landed, Lu Ji asked around and found out that they had arrived at the War Province. This was the territory of the 8 great battle clans. "We actually came to the War Province." Yang Wu sighed with emotion. He was a member of the Yang family. However, after coming to the God Realm, he did not go to the Battle Clan's Yang family. To him, the Battle Clan of the God Realm did not have any feelings of familiarity. The Battle Clan here is different from the Battle Clans of the Transcendent Realm. I heard that this Battle Clan once had an immortal rank character. Even if they are not as strong as the other great temples, the 8 great Battle Clans are definitely an incomparably strong force in the God Realm. Haoren said, "Then should I go take a look?" "Go. If you can obtain the support of the Battle Clan, your position in the God Realm will be even more stable. Moreover, the Battle Clan's reputation in the God Realm can be considered passable. Since Master has said so, then I will go take a look," Yang Wu replied. Thus, He brought Lu Ji to the battle clan's main city. Hao Run, Jiang Zhanyu, Reverend Qing Yin, In Aoli, and Bai Yi did not enter. The battle clan's main city was incomparably grand. Many powerful warriors ran amok on the official road. On the left and right sides of the city, the sound of shouting was endless. Master, the 8-battle city is really not bad. The martial spirit prevails. Lu Ji said to Yang Wu. Amen. Since we're here, let's take a good look. When we return, we will expand Tong Fu City a step further. Yang Wu replied, You're already the Young Hall Master. Do you still care about Tong Fu City? The Medicine God Temple is ultimately just an alchemist temple. Our martial marquee, gang, does not focus on alchemy. Using martial arts to conquer the world is more suitable for me. In the future, I'm afraid I will have to establish my own sect. But that won't stop you from taking over the Medicine God Temple. You're already at the tip of your tongue, yet you're spitting it out? Moreover, other than you, no one else can take over the Medicine Emperor's position. Just as the two of them were happily chatting, a tyrannical group rapidly swept over. Out of the way, all of you out of the way. A shout rang out. The official road was in chaos. Yang Wu and Lu Ji were standing on the side of the road. Naturally, they could feel this rampant group coming over. This was a group of saint-level experts, and the leader was a deity-level expert. In their eyes, this group was nothing. The two of them did not want to cause trouble. Their bodies lightly moved, and they dodged this group's attack. After this group passed by, the warriors on the left and right all started cursing loudly. The Xing clan's people are always so arrogant, truly despicable. There's nothing they can do about it. Who asked them to have a godson who is incomparably powerful? He's going to compete for the top spot on the battle clan's first ranking. Every 500 years, a battle godson will appear. Basically, the Xianyuan clan and the Yang clan will snatch the spot. This time, the Xing clan is indeed the most hopeful. Don't forget that every time this happens, a monstrous genius will appear. The other clans won't easily let the Xing clan's godson become the strongest battle godson. I heard that the person wanted by the Heavenly God Temple, Yang Wu, is also from the battle clan's Yang clan. I wonder if it's true. It shouldn't be. They just have the same surname. Chapter 1793. The Son of the War God. This was a prodigy chosen by the 8 great battle clans every 500 years. Anyone below the age of 500 could participate. Once one became the Son of the War God, they would become the leader of the 8 great battle clans for 500 years until a new Son of the War God appeared. In the previous generation, the Son of the War God was from the Yang clan, and the Son of the War God from the previous generation was from the Xianyuan clan. The Son of the War God that appeared every 500 years would affect the power structure of the 8 great clans. However, the 8 great clans had always been united against outsiders, and no one could easily destroy this atmosphere. This time, the Xing clan had a prodigy who had the chance to become the Son of the War God, and the people who had just charged over were from the Xing clan. They were promoting this candidate. Yang Wu and Lu Ji chose a restaurant and ordered a few dishes. As they ate, they listened to the people in the restaurant chat about the battle clans. However, other than the Son of the War God selection, most of it was just news. My lord, if you participate in this Son of the War God selection, they won't have anything to do with it, right? Lu Ji laughed. What's the point of competing with young people? Yang Wu replied, You make it sound like you're old. However, if a prodigy comes, there should be a chance. My lord, don't you want to try? I'm just here to take a look. I don't really plan on doing anything to the battle clan. Yang Wu and Lu Ji prepared to head to the god of war pagoda that the 8 great battle clans revered. In the past, there was also a god of war pagoda in the transcendent realm. It was a divine artifact. They didn't expect the war state to also have a god of war pagoda. Furthermore, this god of war pagoda was open to everyone. Anyone who obtained the god of war pagoda's recognition and reached a certain level could also join the battle clan. Yang Wu had obtained the mystic disc shield, which was a half-immortal weapon. He also had the electric fork, which was an immortal weapon. He didn't have much desire for the god of war pagoda, but he wanted to see how the battle clans here were different from the transcendent realm's battle clans. When he arrived near the god of war pagoda, he saw an ancient god of war pagoda in the center of the city. It was surrounded by Qian-Chi of heaven and earth. The battle race is really magnanimous. They just placed the god of war pagoda here. Aren't they afraid that someone will take it away? Lu Ji said. He didn't try to hide what he said, but deliberately said it out loud. Sure enough, someone replied, "This is the world of the battle race. Who dares to take this god of war pagoda? Are they tired of living? Is that so? Could it be that those true god-rank powerhouses didn't have such thoughts? I don't believe it." Lu Ji replied, "Little big brother, you look so cute. You must not have gotten involved yet. This god of war pagoda can only be used by people with the bloodline of the battle tribe. Moreover, even true gods might not be able to activate it easily. I heard that this is a monarch weapon." That person replied, "That's true. The 8 great battle tribes experts must be guarding this place. With the help of this god of war pagoda, even a Dharch might not be able to survive," Lu Ji replied. "That's right." That person replied, then approached Lu Ji and said, "Little big brother, how should I address you? Let's be friends?" His wretched eyes roamed over Lu Ji's body. Clearly, he thought that Lu Ji was his younger sister who was cross-dressing. However, before he could get close to Lu Ji, he was sent flying. Yang Wu couldn't help but laugh. "Beautiful military advisor, you're still as charming as ever." "Lord, don't laugh at me. It's not my fault that I'm handsome." Lu Ji shrugged. "You're so smug. Let's go. We'll also take a walk in the god of war pagoda," Yang Wu said and walked toward the god of war pagoda. "Lord, there's so many people here. Are we just going to walk in? Just treat us as ordinary martial artists. Do you really think that you can look down on everyone just because you've reached the true god realm?" Hee hee, pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. I know. There were people all around the god of war pagoda. They were all lining up to enter the god of war pagoda. A pagoda guardian's voice rang out. "Don't push. Only 100 people can enter at a time. If anyone dares to push, get lost immediately. Those over 500 years old are not allowed to come near." In the divine world, cultivators under 500 years old were still considered young. The god of war pagoda wasn't just a divine pagoda to check the bloodline talent of the battle tribe. It was also useful for people outside of the 8 battle tribes. This pagoda had a total of 33 levels. Each level contained a different level. It was rumored that ever since the god of war pagoda was placed here, no one had truly walked all 33 levels. Yang Wu, Lu Ji, and the others were also lining up. In order to avoid panic, they had changed their appearances slightly. But no matter how they changed, those who approached them would be pushed away. No one could get within 10 feet of them. "You too, accompany this lady to challenge the trial." Suddenly, a voice sounded. Not far away, there was a sexy beauty holding a long whip and pointing it in their direction. This beauty looked to be around 16 years old, and there were a few outstanding escorts beside her. It's the little princess of a Xing family. She actually took a liking to these 2 lucky fellows. I'm so envious. Why isn't it us? They clearly look very ordinary. There are lucky fellows arriving every day, but who can compare to these 2 fellows? They actually reached the heavens in a single step. Xing Jiqiu, the little princess of the Xing family's younger generation. Her cultivation talent was amazing, and she had countless suitors. She had already reached the peak of the minor saint realm at a young age and would soon enter the sage realm. Today, she was preparing to enter the god of war pagoda again. She had already reached the 15th level the previous few times. Her talent was indeed amazing. Moreover, she was the daughter of the quasi-god of war. This time, she planned to break through again. For a proud little princess like her, there would definitely be many people following her when something happened. This was especially so for those young people who wanted to curry favor with the powerful. Yang Wu looked around, then pointed at himself and asked, "Little girl, are you calling us? You're really bold. This is the little princess of the Xing family. Why aren't you kneeling down?" One of Xing Jiqiu's escorts shouted, "Hurry up and go over. There are many benefits if you can accompany the little princess. You might even become a servant of the Xing family and reach the heavens in a single step," someone said. It was as if becoming a servant of the Xing family was an extremely glorious thing. We're just here to take a look. Can we not go? Yang Wu rejected. Impudent. The little princess called you over, so get over here. If you speak any more nonsense, you won't have to enter the God of War Pagoda, Zhang Wei, the escort who spoke just now, shouted. Lord, I think we should forget about it. That little girl thinks we're handsome and have good taste. We'll accompany her for a while, Lu Ji said. All right, I'm afraid it won't end well. Yang Wu shrugged. Hence, the two of them walked over to Xing Jiqiu. If you can reach the 7th level, you can become a servant of the Xing family. If you can reach the 9th level, you can become my bodyguards. Do you understand? Xing Jiqiu said condescendingly. No matter how much Yang Wu and Lu Ji changed their appearances, they still looked like youths. They were very good-looking and had an invisible aura that was extremely attractive. Understood. We will definitely do our best to reach the 9th level and become your bodyguards. Lu Ji patted his chest and said, that would be for the best. Xing Jiqiu responded and quietly waited for the arrangements. The people behind her looked at Yang Wu and Lu Ji with disdain. Other than people from the battle clan, who else could reach the 9th level? What a fool's dream. That was just a small goal that Xing Jiqiu had purposely mentioned. Not long after, people came out of the God of War Pagoda one after another. However, there were also people who passed the 16th level. The 10th level of the God of War Pagoda emitted a divine light, indicating that someone had reached it. It must be Yang Liuro from the Yang family. She passed the 16th level. Miss Yang Liuro and Princess Xing Jiqiu are rivals. They are about the same age and talent. They have always been competing. No wonder they are here together. Lower your voice. Be careful. Trouble comes from careless talk. In the God of War Pagoda, 2 hours in the outside world is equivalent to a month or even a year inside. This is also the time limit for each level. Miss Liuro is coming out soon. Indeed, not long after, a little beauty wearing a green willow dress walked out of the God of War Pagoda. She looked very lovely. Her big eyes were fluttering and her lips were pouting. This expression was very cute. Very soon, her eyes met Xing Jiqiu's, and invisible sparks collided in the air. Yang Liuro, 3 months have passed, and you have only reached 1 level. How disappointing. You are destined to not be my opponent, Xing Jiqiu said arrogantly. That will have to wait until you pass the 15th level. Yang Liuro laughed. Don't worry, you will see it soon. Xing Jiqiu sneered. He led the people behind him and prepared to enter the God of War Pagoda. At this moment, Yang Liuro's gaze landed on Yang Wu. She exclaimed, Who are you? Yang Wu was stunned. He thought to himself, could it be that this little girl can see through my true identity? What's wrong? Does young Miss Yang want a servant like me? If you want, I can give it to you. But let me train you first. I guarantee you will like it then. Xing Jiqiu laughed and quickly entered the God of War Pagoda. Yang Wu and Lu Ji also quickly followed. Are you from the Yang family? Yang Wu asked through voice transmission. Yang Wu looked back at Yang Liuro but did not reply. He was sure that Yang Liuro's green eyes had extraordinary abilities. However, this was his first time in the war state, and he had never been to the Yang family. How did she know him? After Yang Wu followed Xing Jiqiu into the God of War Pagoda, Yang Liuro did not leave. She thought to herself, he looks too similar to the ancestor statue that the family worships. He must be from the Yang family. The next moment, she waved her hands to her left and right. Someone quickly came over. Miss, do you have any orders? Go back and get 2 God-class guardians. I will snatch him later, Yang Liuro said resolutely. Miss, isn't this going too far? What are you afraid of? I will take care of everything. Go. Yes, Mrs. Sip. Chapter 1794. The 33rd level of the God of War Pagoda. Everything here was very different from the God of War Pagoda in the Transcendental world. The 1st to 5th levels were all basic tests. They were all puppet tests. To Yang Wu and Lu Ji, they posed no pressure at all. It was the same for Xing Jiqiu and the rest. Yang Wu and Lu Ji became the targets of Xing Jiqiu's command. They were the vanguard and passed the test by a hair's breadth. After the 6th level, it was the test of bloodline. This level wasn't something that anyone could help with. One had to rely on their own willpower. Yang Wu and Lu Ji didn't perform well, but they could still pass. They didn't have the war tribe's bloodline, but they were strong enough to pass. Usually, those who had reached the God realm would be able to pass the 9th level. Their group made it all the way to the 9th level. In the 9th stage, they were besieged by quite a number of minor saint beings. Why are the two of you so slow? Go and lure them away. Otherwise, you will die, said Zhang Wei, Xing Jiqiu's bodyguard. At this level, they were under a lot of pressure. Little princess, we are weak, Lu Ji said weakly to Xing Jiqiu. Go. Now that you are here, you are qualified to be my followers. Lure them away, and your mission will be completed, Xing Jiqiu said indifferently. Since that's the case, the two of us will take our leave. Lu Ji cried out sadly and went to deal with the pristine saint realm beings with Yang Wu. They rushed in and pretended to fight for a while to lure those little saints away. In the end, they even screamed, "Little princess, please, please save us." Unfortunately, no one cared about them. They directly rushed to the entrance of the next level. Arrogant fellows, Zhang Wei said disdainfully. Then he smiled and said to Xing Jiqiu, "Little princess, we will escort you to the entrance of the 10th level. You will have to rely on yourself from now on." The 10th level of the God of War Pagoda didn't allow people outside the war tribe to enter. Yang Wu and Lu Ji had already reached the entrance to the 10th floor. The people from the Xing clan are all loathsome, Lu Ji said as he shook his head. Why are you competing with a little girl? Yang Wu laughed. What a blind girl. Lu Ji was still in a bad mood. Then he said, if my lord stepped onto the 33rd level of heaven, I wonder what she would think. You think too much, but I feel like you're going to be eliminated. Yang Wu said. Just as his voice fell, a power descended upon Lu Ji's body. Then a voice rang out. Those who are not from the war race are not allowed to set foot on the 10th floor. Before Lu Ji could react, he was teleported out. I'm already the true God realm, but I'm still being ostracized by this God of War Pagoda. Impressive. Lu Ji secretly exclaimed when he was outside. Yang Liuro walked over to him and asked, What's the name of the person who went in with you? Lu Ji glanced at Yang Liuro and said, Why? Do you like him? Do you want me to introduce him to you? I can see your true face. Little sister, you should tell me the truth. I won't fight with you over a man. Yang Liuro said. Lu Ji instantly felt a sharp pain. He said loudly, You're the little sister. Everyone in your family is little sister. This 10,000 points of critical hit was too great. In the 10th floor, Yang Wu also walked over like he was looking at flowers on horseback. Then, he walked all the way to the 15th floor. Wow, look, the 15th floor lit up. How long has it been? How could it light up so quickly? Could it be that the Xing clan's little princess caused the commotion? Other than her, who else could it be? Impressive. Looks like she'll definitely break Miss Liuro's record. In fact, Xing Jiqiu had just passed the 10th floor and was on his way to the 11th. It must be that guy. He looks so much like my ancestor. He must be from my Yang clan. I must bring him back to my clan, Yang Liuro said firmly. Then, she said to Lu Ji, Little sister, are you being forced? Don't be afraid. I've already summoned the elders of my clan. They will definitely take you back. Lu Ji was speechless at this young girl. Not long later, the 16th floor lit up. However, this was just the beginning. In an instant, it lit up all the way to the 30th floor. The entire God of War Pagoda lit up. Divine light shrouded the area, and battle chi filled the area. Many of the battle clan's experts in the city were alarmed. Who exactly reached the 30th floor of the God of War Pagoda? No one has done this in 10,000 years. Maybe it's the new son of the God of War. This is too heaven-defying. I hope it's my Qin clan. If that's the case, my Qin clan will definitely be in the top 3 in 1,000 years. No one has been able to reach the 30th floor for 10,000 years. Someone actually did it. Could it be an old monster who came out of seclusion? The 8 battle clan's god-level experts rushed toward the God of War Pagoda. Some of the true god experts who were in seclusion also sensed it. They all looked over, trying to figure out who had such ability. One had to know that a true god could only reach the 29th floor at most. Unless it was a arch-level true god, it was possible to reach the 30th floor. Someone had done it 10,000 years ago, but no one had done it in the past 10,000 years. Damn, the Lord has caused such a big commotion. It's not going to be easy to clean up. Only Lu Ji knew that it was Yang Wu who had done it. Other than him, no one else could reach the god of War Pagoda. On the 30th floor of the god of War Pagoda, Yang Wu was facing the battle clan's most outstanding Dharch-level true gods. As an ancient race, the battle clan had produced immortal-level figures before. Countless prodigies had risen in the past, so it was nothing for a Dharch-level true god to appear. Yang Wu fought with them for a while before he was lucky enough to defeat them one by one. However, his body was also in tatters, and blood flowed profusely. He was in a very sorry state. Dharch-level true gods have appeared on the 30th floor. It will be even more shocking after the 31st floor, Yang Wu muttered to himself. He adjusted his breathing for a while and continued to step onto the 31st floor. He had no idea what was going on outside. He only knew that the last few floors had given him a lot of benefits, especially his understanding of the Black Tortoise Immortal Tao. It had deepened. 8 powerful Dharch-level characters had appeared on the 31st floor. Every clan had one, and their cultivation levels were higher than his. They were comparable to his master's battle prowess. Even a quasi-emperor might not be able to win against him. Could Yang Wu pass? He had never been a person who was willing to admit defeat. He held the Shimpan shield in one hand and the electric fork in the other. He had fully unleashed the power of his divine palace, but he was still beaten black and blue. Unless his strength could reach a higher level, he would not be able to pass this floor. It seems that if I don't use my final trump card, it will be the end, Yang Wu muttered. Immortal Qi lingered around his body, and the moon's soul appeared between his eyebrows. A battle shadow swept out from the moon's soul. Moon's soul battle body. All these years, Yang Wu had not come out of seclusion. Other than forming the divine palace, the other thing was to form the moon soul battle body. This was a talent that he had comprehended from the Slayer. It could also be said to be the talent of the moon soul mysterious essence. The moon soul battle body was not inferior to the transcendent's real body. It was formed by the power of the moon soul. After he had refined it into the moon essence stone, it was even more extraordinary. His moon soul battle body's battle prowess was much stronger than his true body. It was comparable to a boundary dharch. When the moon soul battle body came out, it exploded with extremely powerful strength and challenged the 8 true gods at the same time. At this moment, Yang Wu felt like he was the god of the moon. He exploded with endless Yin soul energy. Each of his moves contained the power to destroy heaven and earth. The soul bell was the first to ring, and it shook the 8 true gods to a halt. The moon's soul battle body swept past and unleashed a shocking battle light that enveloped the 8 battle shadows. The 8 battle shadows' auras were immeasurable, and they exploded with powerful strength. After the Emperor Yellow mysterious technique of the Xinyuan clan was unleashed, it was as if an emperor had descended. The dragon-shaped energy circled around, and the battle aura was extremely shocking. After the unparalleled archery technique of the Emperor's clan was shot out, no living creature could dodge it. The Xing clan's punishment fire shield had black flames that covered the sky like the sun. The battle auras of the other clans were also different. When they exploded from the true gods, they formed an earth-shattering force that suppressed Yang Wu. There were true dragons roaring, divine arrows shooting out like rainbows, battle auras like fire, and black tortoise breaking through the water. There were all kinds of different battle auras and attacks that were overwhelming. After a tough battle, the Moon Soul battle body still defeated the 8 true gods at the same level. The Moon Soul battle body had merged with the Slayer's soul and the soul energy of many true gods. The killing power that erupted from it was extremely powerful. On the 32nd level, only one person appeared. It was a boundary dharch. How many years has it been? Finally, a descendant of the war tribe has made it here. It's really rare. The Boundary the Arch said faintly. This was a Boundary the Arch from the Xinyuan clan. The aura of an emperor around him was extremely dense. When he punched, he released an invincible aura. After Yang Wu bowed to the other party, he summoned the Moon Soul Battle Body. His true body could not fight with the other party. This time, the Moon Soul Battle Body not only lowered the Soul Bell, but also carried the Shinpan Shield and the Electric Fork. He had to fight with all his strength. The Boundary the Arch of the Xinyuan clan strode forward like a dragon. A yellow palm print charged over like a dragon. The sky and earth changed color. The Moon Soul Battle Body blocked with the Shinpan Shield. The Soul Bell shook to interfere with the other party's soul. The Electric Fork flew out, and the endless power of thunder bombarded the Boundary the Arch. These were just methods to disturb the enemy. The Path of the Void exploded, and the void attacks fell on the other party. The series of attacks made one feel suffocated. However, the Boundary the Arch continuously slapped his palms. 81 dragon-shaped battle auras swept out crazily. The power of the Electric Fork was destroyed, and the sound of the bell was also blocked. There was even dragon aura that rushed up from the ground and devoured the Moon Soul Battle Body. Such a transcendent way of the Emperor was indeed shocking. The Moon Soul Body held the Star's sword. Boundless killing intent erupted. The sword fell crazily and broke the dragon-shaped battle auras. The sword stabbed toward the other party's forehead. The Boundary the Arch formed a seal with both hands and shouted, "Seal of Emperor." Chapter 1795. As the Emperor's seal struck down, it was as if Yang Wu had become a subject that had to bow down before him. An invincible spirit filled the world, and his strength was incomparably powerful. Even if his master, Hao Run, was here, he would also be suppressed and killed. The Moon Soul battle physique was forcibly suppressed and almost collapsed. Yang Wu hurriedly activated the power of the Immortal Foundation and injected it into the battle physique. The battle physique's strength increased again, and the Sword of Killing slashed out wildly, wanting to destroy everything. In addition, the Divine Court Dao Flower also appeared. Like the Divine Palace, it was branded with martial will. It completely burst forth, turning into a black and white lotus flower that enveloped the Boundary Emperor. Immortal Appalling Seal. The Boundary Emperor did not use any weapon chi. He only used his palms to launch an Emperor-level attack. This seal was said to be able to appalling immortals, which showed how terrifying its power was. This space was filled with the power of this palm. The omnipresent power crushed Yang Wu. After the Moon Soul battle physique collided with it, it was as if two stars had exploded. Boundless power splashed in all directions. At this moment, Yang Wu's true divinity moved. Immortal Spirit Possession. An immortal spirit appeared behind him, and he summoned back the Electric Fork to launch his strongest attack. Electric Stars Fly. This was the fourth move of the Electric Fork's inheritance, a true immortal technique. The power of thunder and lightning splashed in all directions like starlight. Many electric forks moved wildly, as if the turbulence in the void was filled with destructive power. Rumble, rumble. For the first time, he joined forces with the Moon Soul battle physique to attack the Boundary Emperor. The entire space turned into nothingness. After an unknown period of time, the space calmed down and the Boundary Emperor's figure gradually disappeared. He said with a smile, "Not bad." After the Boundary Emperor disappeared, the Moon Soul battle physique collapsed, and his physical body was almost destroyed. It was definitely a battle of mutual destruction. To be able to fight the Boundary Emperor, I could be considered to have stepped on the path to the peak. Yang Wu smiled bitterly. Then, he refined the immortal liquid and healed his injuries again. A power entered his glabella, and several imprints appeared. Emperor's Seal, Immortal Appalling Seal, Annihilating Sky Seal. The three great Dharma seals could be cultivated by any type of power. It was an Emperor-level cultivation technique. This was the inheritance that the Quasi-Emperor had left for him, and it was also his reward. With the recovery of the immortal liquid and the help of the immortal root's power, Yang Wu quickly recovered to his peak and even improved his martial Dao. Maybe I can cultivate these 3 imprints before continuing up. Yang Wu mumbled to himself as he began to cultivate the 3 imprints. On the 32nd level, time passed even more slowly than on the other levels. A year here was less than a quarter of an hour in the outside world. This was the most amazing thing about the God of War Pagoda. When the 32nd floor lit up, the outside world had gone completely crazy. Quick, go back and report to the family head. Let's see who entered the God of War Pagoda today. We have to get to the bottom of this. Just which Grand Elder is it? To think that he would actually reach this step. Go ask the Tower Elder. He might know who is inside. 32nd floor. Our war race is going to have a great emperor. How exciting. That's right. It is rumored that only emperor-level characters can cross over 30 heavens. Our war race is about to completely rise. The city was completely shaken, and the 8 great war races were in an uproar. Many elders in seclusion flew over from afar. Xinyuan Longong of the Xinyuan race, Hou Jue of the Hou clan, Yang Xining of the Yang clan, Xing Tai of the Xing clan. They were all famous existences among the 8 great war races and were infinitely close to the strength of a boundary emperor. The younger generation of martial gods were also here. The most outstanding ones were Xinyuan Huowu, King Wu Xing, and Qin Fa. Xinyuan Huowu came from the human domain. She was outstanding and had shocking talent. On the path of cultivation, she had always been very successful. However, she had always been very low-key and cultivated bitterly. Her strength had increased very quickly, and she was now among the top immortal state. Compared to other people of the same age in the Xinyuan race, she was even more outstanding. King Wu Xing was born with a natural battle constitution. He had been outstanding since he was young and had suppressed countless people of the same generation in the war prefecture. At the same time, he had also crossed over and killed many prodigies of the same level. He had the potential to be this generation's war godson. Qin Fa was the Qin clan's godson and a boundary emperor-level prodigy. He was not much weaker than King Wu Xing. They had all rushed over after sensing the commotion in the God of War Pagoda. These people had all been to the God of War Pagoda before, but none of them had reached such heights. After these people appeared, the Pagoda Elder appeared and reported that the people from the battle race who had entered the God of War Pagoda this time were all juniors. Among them, Xing Jiqiu was already considered outstanding. However, they definitely did not believe that Xing Jiqiu had such ability. Besides Xing Jiqiu, could it be that there were other people who had entered the God of War Pagoda and reached such heights? Even a boundary emperor would be struck down by the God of War Pagoda. This was an emperor-level weapon, or even a half-immortal weapon. Those who did not have the bloodline of the battle race would not be able to reach the 9th level. What if Jiqiu is acknowledged by the God of War Pagoda? Someone from the Xing clan fantasized. Unfortunately, no one responded to his words. After a while, the 16th level of the God of War Pagoda flashed. Following that, a person came out of the God of War Pagoda. It was Xing Jiqiu. When Xing Jiqiu saw the group of battle race seniors in front of her, she was instantly dumbfounded. She muttered, "Could it be that I have attracted the attention of so many seniors after reaching the 16th level?" However, she quickly realized that this was not the case. Everyone was looking at the towering God of War Pagoda. She turned around and was stunned. As expected, it is impossible for this little girl to cause such a commotion. Someone sighed. "Some people are thinking too much," someone else said. "Then who is it?" This was the answer that everyone wanted to know. At this moment, someone's gaze locked onto Lu Ji and asked, "May I know who you are?" The person who spoke was Xinyuan Longong. He had a crown on his head and wore dragon armor. He looked extremely mighty, like an emperor. Lu Ji ignored Xinyuan Longong. Instead, he looked at the beauty beside him and said, "Princess Wu Wu, do you still remember me?" Lu Ji no longer concealed his identity and revealed his true appearance. Xinyuan Hua Wu's beautiful eyes shrank. Then, she said in pleasant surprise, "It's you. Could it be that he is here?" Lu Ji nodded and said yes. Besides him, who else could do such a shocking thing? No wonder. No one from the battle race has passed the 30th level for so many years. Now that he is here, it makes sense. He is still so abnormal. Xianyuan Huowu said with a trace of hidden bitterness. Who is he? Xianyuan Longong asked. The others also looked at Xianyuan Huowu. They all wanted to know the answer. Xianyuan Huowu said, he came from the battle race of the human world with me. He is also the one you have always wanted to return to the clan. The one from the Medicine God Palace? Yang Xining of the Yang clan reacted quickly and asked. Xianyuan Huowu nodded. Yang Xining immediately said in joy, Good, very good. Is it really that good? Yang Lioro whispered. Haha, we are all surnamed Yang. Of course it's good. Yang Xining said with an incomparably happy smile. The upper echelons of the battle race were not stupid. Otherwise, they would not have their current strength. A figure appeared in their minds. Although they had not seen him with their own eyes, they had heard of him for a long time. They had sent people to invite him many times, but they were all ignored. They did not expect that he would actually come in person this time. When the 33rd floor lit up, the entire city was in an uproar. Boundless light flickered across the entire war province. Countless top experts were also alarmed. Even some places outside the war province could vaguely sense the anomaly here. The old monsters who were in seclusion could no longer sit still. When the 33rd level lit up, the Emperor Star appeared. This was the ancient teaching of the battle race. Whoever stepped into the 33rd level of the battle race meant that an Emperor-level character would appear in their battle race. Currently, there were only 5 great emperors in the human race of the divine world. Was it time for the battle race to prepare to welcome a new emperor? Many people of the battle race knelt down piously. Their eyes were filled with longing. The heavens have taken pity on us. A new emperor has finally appeared in our battle race. Our battle race does not need to keep a low profile anymore. With the birth of a new emperor, it means that our battle race can stand on equal footing with the other 5 palaces. Who is the new emperor? No matter which race he comes from, I am willing to serve him. He must be from our Xianyuan race. Apart from our Xianyuan race's boundary emperor, who else can do this? In the 33rd layer of heaven, Yang Wu was in a state of confusion. He saw a figure that he could not be more familiar with. You came a little later than I thought, said that figure indifferently as he looked at Yang Wu. I also wanted to come earlier, but due to various things, I was delayed, explained Yang Wu. After a pause, he said, Ancestor, when did you come to the divine world? The person in front of him was the young martial god he had met in the transcendental world's god of War Pagoda. He had also seen him in the divine firmament battlefield. Who would have thought that they would meet again here? It was as if they had traveled through time and space to meet again. You can come, but I can't, asked the young martial god. Yang Wu replied, That's not what I meant. I'm just very surprised. Yes, there are many unexpected things. Although you came a little late, you came at the right time. If you came earlier, it wouldn't have been good, said the young martial god. Yang Wu did not understand what he meant. Next, let me see how strong you are. I hope you don't disappoint me, said the young martial god as he attacked Yang Wu. When he released his aura, Yang Wu felt as if he was facing a divine emperor. It was even scarier than a divine emperor. That power that looked down on the world and suppressed an entire era was impossible to resist. Nine Yang the Arch Realm. Yang Wu cried out. With my current cultivation level, it's considered bullying. However, as long as you can withstand 3 moves, you pass, replied the young martial god as he punched out. Black Tortoise Fist. When the fist landed, it was as if a huge black tortoise had appeared in the sky, suppressing heaven and earth. Nothing in the world could resist it. Chapter 1796. Yang Wu also cultivated the Black Tortoise Fist, but the same Black Tortoise Fist brought out a different level of power. However, Yang Wu had the Champagne Shield. He used the Lunar Soul Battle Body to block the attack. At the same time, his true god was ready to attack with the Electric Fork. However, when the Black Tortoise's fist landed on the Champagne Shield, the Lunar Soul Battle Body almost collapsed. His true body froze, and his mind went blank. He felt like he was almost killed by the punch. Puffed. Yang Wu spat out a mouthful of blood. All of his aura withered. If he didn't have the Champagne Shield, this punch would have been enough to kill them. A quasi-emperor was in the 8 Suns realm. while an emperor was in the Nine Suns realm. It was only a difference of one divine palace, but the difference in strength was huge. So what if Yang Wu had a quasi-immortal weapon? In front of absolute strength, he was still vulnerable. Originally, after Yang Wu obtained a Shimpan shield, he felt like he could protect himself in front of an Emperor Realm creature. Now is all gone. You can't take just one move, the young martial god said faintly. He was like a high and mighty emperor looking down on the world. His invincible aura had reached a terrifying level. Yang Wu regulated his breathing for a while before he recovered. What kind of ultimate move did he have to resist? If you're already at your limit, then let's stop here, the young martial god said emotionlessly. His arm formed a war spear, and he slowly swung it down at Yang Wu. The war spear was like a dragon, filled with boundless battle intent. The Yang family spear technique was also the reverse dragon spear technique. It was just a starting stance, but Yang Wu felt like he was completely suppressed by the world. He couldn't move at all. I can't lose like this. I won't die here. Facing this move, Yang Wu felt the threat of death. His will to live exploded. His stubborn spirit supported him, and he stood up again. The Moon's soul battle body returned to the divine court, and a sense of self-sacrifice spread out from him. At the next moment, the Moon soul battle body merged with the divine court flower. The power of the Dantian divine palace exploded. The power of the divine palace in his kidney and heart also exploded. He murmured to himself, "Regular power is no match for him. I have to give it my all." The power of the immortal foundation swayed crazily as strands of immortal energy were extracted. The power of the divine Tao condensed into one cauldron as if it was concocting a pill. It rushed from the Dantian to the heavenly court. When the young martial god swung his spear down, his third eye suddenly opened. Soul eye extermination. At this moment, the soul force that erupted from his soul eye was imprinted with the great Tao he had learned throughout his life. It turned into a beam of eternal light that shot towards the young martial god. In the god realm, this move had always been of little value. The main reason was that many god-level beings had defensive divine artifacts in their divine court. His soul force couldn't penetrate them, so he didn't use this move. After he obtained the Moon Soul Mystic Essence and broke through to the Three Suns realm, the power of his battle soul had reached the level of a quasi-emperor. Even if his opponents had defensive soul artifacts, they still couldn't withstand his attack. Moreover, he had integrated everything he had learned into his soul eye. The attack was inexplicably terrifying, as if it could destroy everything with a single glance. Bang! The soul eye's attack clashed with the young martial god's and barely blocked it. However, the soul force quickly collapsed inch by inch, and the spear shadow still came crashing down. The space between Yang Wu's eyebrows was smashed, and his soul eye was smashed. A blood-curdling screech resounded, and his figure was sent flying far away. He felt as if his head had exploded. This was definitely the worst Yang Wu had suffered since his debut. Although he had been on the brink of death many times, this time, his divine court was almost shattered. His life was in danger, and any martial artist could take him down. The gap between emperor-level beings was indeed very large. Since you have appeared here, it is destined that your life will end here. Your mission will also end here, the young martial god said faintly. His palm slammed down again. This time, he didn't hold back at all. It was more terrifying than the previous two moves. It was as if the sky was falling down and Yang Wu was just a small ant. Under this palm, everything was destroyed. Universe in the palm. This was a palm of despair. Even if Yang Wu used all his strength, he couldn't stop it. The difference in strength was too obvious. Was Yang Wu finished just like that? At the critical moment, immortal chi floated in his body and an immortal tree flew out. The immortal light emitted chaotic light and blocked the palm. Bang! The palm print disappeared, and so did the immortal light. It was as if nothing had happened. The young martial god was stunned for a moment. Then, he laughed and said, as expected, you are still the invincible you. No one can compare to you. I hope you can ascend to immortality soon and sweep away those bastards. With that, He turned into a wisp of energy and flew towards Yang Wu's forehead. At the same time, the mother chi of heaven and earth floated and wrapped around Yang Wu. This battle was definitely real and not an illusion. With the nourishment of the mother chi of heaven and earth, Yang Wu's head injury slowly healed. He gradually regained a bit of consciousness and sighed. What a narrow escape from death. He circulated the regal 9 mysteries formula, and the mother chi of heaven and earth surged into his body. The immortal peach tree greedily absorbed it. The power of the immortal root grew stronger, and his body recovered quickly. However, the Tao flower in the divine court didn't recover so easily. When Yang Wu's body was almost fully recovered, he guided the power of the immortal root into the divine court. After the divine court Tao flower was nourished by the immortal qi, it slowly recovered, and the moon's soul battle physique was reassembled. The immortal root and the immortal body were Yang Wu's talents. When the fighting soul was restored, the young martial god had transformed into a powerful martial will. Each of his punches and palms contained a crazy power that could control the universe. The 9 suns gathered together, and the scene was shocking. His understanding of martial arts had reached a new level. This was the inheritance of the martial will. It was the inheritance that allowed him to step into the Emperor realm. After an unknown period of time, Yang Wu opened his eyes. His body was surrounded by immortal qi. Immortal light gathered in his stomach. Those were the divine chains of the martial way. They began to condense together to form the 4th divine palace. His divine palace was completely different from others. Others used the outside world to build their divine palace. However, he used the power of the Dantian divine palace to strengthen the other parts of his body to form a brand new divine palace. It could be said that he only had 1 divine palace. It could also be said that he had 4 divine palaces at the same time. It was very difficult to distinguish between realms. Yang Wu didn't feel uncomfortable at all. Instead, he felt that he was in a very good state. He felt that once he gathered the power of the 9 suns, he would become extremely terrifying. His power would definitely surpass other Emperor Realm experts. Now, he could be considered a mid-level true god. However, his battle power was definitely not inferior to that of a high-level true god. Even if his master was here, it was still unknown who would win in a battle between the 2 of them. After gathering 8 types of mystic essence qi and entering the true god realm, his breakthrough speed was not slow. His strength had also increased tremendously. With his current strength, he didn't need to be afraid no matter where he went. He really didn't expect that his cultivation level would increase so much after coming to the God of War Pagoda. It was even more rewarding than entering the mystic realms. The heaven and earth source chi in the God of War Pagoda disappeared. It no longer provided him with energy. Since I've reached this step, I'll leave some behind. Yang Wu smiled faintly, and a tree branch grew out of his body, quickly encircling the chi of heaven and earth, preventing it from escaping. The God of War Pagoda kept shaking. There was a strong repulsive force trying to expel Yang Wu. Don't be so petty. I'm your master in the future. After Yang Wu said that, he looked in a direction and saw an artifact spirit appear. Greetings, master. There's very little heaven and earth source chi. Use as little as you can. It's better to leave some for the future generations. The artifact spirit said respectfully. You're right. However, as your master, do you think I won't be able to gather enough heaven and earth source chi in the future? Give me some more. Yang Wu continued to let the immortal immortality peach tree absorb the heaven and earth source chi. The artifact spirit actually couldn't refute him. Whoever ascended to the 33rd heaven would be the new master of the God of War Pagoda. Yang Wu had never thought of occupying the God of War Pagoda. However, the young martial god's inheritance told him that he had to bring the God of War Pagoda with him. This was also a pseudo-immortal weapon. In the future, he could forge a real immortal weapon. However, it wasn't that easy to take the God of War Pagoda away. How could the 8 battle tribes allow that? No matter what, he had to give it a try. At most, he could defeat all the battle tribe cultivators. With these 2 pseudo-immortal weapons, he would have the right to dominate the divine world. The crowd outside the God of War pagoda was already packed. A true god cultivator's voice rang out. Those not from the battle tribe, please leave. Those who haven't reached the Jade Moon realm, please leave. Xianyuan Long Ong spoke. This was such a big event. They had to leave. Who knew what kind of person would come out of the God of War pagoda? Furthermore, the God of War pagoda was shaking. Thousands of rays of divine light shot out in all directions. It was about to be completely unsealed. If it didn't leave now, who knew if it would explode with power and injure the weak living beings here? At that moment, a handsome figure appeared on the God of War pagoda. He was like a descendant of an immortal. Boundless immortal light enveloped him. He was otherworldly and ethereal. The God of War pagoda, beside him, actually shrank and kept shrinking. Even the divine formation around it couldn't stop this from happening. Who wants to take my God of War pagoda? Xing Tai shouted. The God of War pagoda was the ancestral artifact of the 8 battle tribes. Its origins could be traced back to a long time ago. Now, it was being taken by a stranger. No one could accept it. That young man didn't care about his words at all. The God of War pagoda landed in his hands. He was like a pagoda holding a god of war, looking even more majestic and extraordinary. Xing Tai rushed forward and shouted, "Put down the God of War pagoda!" Xing Tai was a high-level true god. He condensed the power of 6 suns and was like a black sun soaring into the sky. The divine aura he released was incomparably powerful. Boundless black flames enveloped Yongwu. "Suppress," the young man said calmly in the face of this powerful attack. He threw the God of War pagoda out and enveloped Xing Tai. "No!" Xing Tai screamed as he was suppressed on the spot. Chapter 1797. Xing Tai was one of the top figures in the Xing family. Even those old monsters might not be his match. He had attacked Yongwu, but he had been mercilessly suppressed by the God of War pagoda. Xing Tai was too tragic. The others' eyelids twitched as they exclaimed in their hearts, "The God of War pagoda has really recognized a master." Xianyuan Long Ong looked up at Yongwu and asked, "Are you the young emperor of the medicine god hall, Yongwu?" Yongwu replied, "Yes, I am. Now that the God of War pagoda has recognized a master, I will compensate the battle tribe." He had no choice. The God of War pagoda had been guarded by the battle tribe for so many years. If he didn't compensate them, it wouldn't be right. Haha, what's that to compensate? You are a member of the Yang family and have been recognized by the God of War pagoda. You are the young emperor of the battle tribe in the future. We will help you become the arch. Yang Xining laughed. Young emperor. This was the proof of being the arch. He could become the arch in the future. Yang Wu had reached the 33rd heaven. Even if he hadn't become the arch, he would at least have the strength of a quasi-thearch. Yang Xining, aren't you being too full of yourself? That is the ancestral weapon of our war race. It is jointly controlled by our war race. When can one person control it? Quickly release Tai and return the God of War pagoda to its original position. Then, we can let bygones be bygones, said the Empress coldly. Another battle tribe true god said, "That's right. The God of War pagoda cannot be taken away. You are the young emperor of the medicine god hall, but you are not in the battle tribe's genealogy. Quickly return the God of War pagoda to its original position. Otherwise, don't blame us for being impolite," shouted another true god. Immediately after, several powerful true gods flew into the sky at the same time and sealed off the area, not giving Yang Wu a chance to escape. Why is it him? Xing Jiqiu was stunned when she saw Yang Wu. Even if Yang Wu had changed back to his original appearance, she could still distinguish him from the clothes he was wearing. Not long ago, she had treated Yang Wu as a follower. Now, who would have thought that he was just playing with her? Even if it was her family's ancestor, he could suppress her. Her face turned pale, and she felt a lingering fear in her heart. If he really wanted to make a fuss about it, what was she to him? The little princess of the Xing family? In front of him, it was just a joke. A peerless hero, truly a peerless hero. Yang Liuro's eyes sparkled as she exclaimed, "Isn't he handsome? Unfortunately, he's still a bit lacking compared to me." Lu Ji, who was beside Yang Liuro, said, "Che, you're just a pretty boy. He is a true hero, too handsome." Yang Liuro said, "Not only her, but all the women present had the same expression of worship. This guy is as cocky as ever." Xin Yuan Hou sighed with emotion. "I want to take away the god of war pagoda. None of you can stop me. Don't make things difficult for me." Yang Wu sighed as he looked at the true god experts surrounding him. "Young Emperor, the god of war pagoda is the symbol of our battle tribe. It is inappropriate for you to take it away like this. Please put it down." Xin Yuan Long Ong stepped into the air. Yang Xining also followed and said, "Yang Wu, acknowledge your ancestors and return to your clan. You have a chance to become a martial emperor. We will respect you. It is only a matter of time before I become a martial emperor. If you are willing, follow me," Yang Wu said calmly. Everyone below prostrated themselves in worship. Even if an emperor-level character was here, he wouldn't dare to speak like this. The 8 great battle tribes didn't have any martial emperors, but they definitely had martial emperors. If they used martial emperor weapons, even a martial emperor wouldn't be able to deal with them. Why did Yang Wu dare to speak such arrogant words? "Yang Wu, you are too arrogant." Xin Yuan Long Ang's dragon chi surged as he said faintly. Then he emphasized again, "Put down the god of war pagoda. Otherwise, don't blame us for being impolite. Then there is no room for discussion. If you could snatch it back, what's wrong with me staying?" Yang Wu replied. He was determined to get the god of war pagoda. "Attack!" Xin Yuan Longong ordered. In the next moment, the true gods of the battle tribe on the left and right attacked Yang Wu at the same time. The Empress's clan shot out arrows. Boundless light locked onto the target. Even the sun could be shot down. Yang Xining raised his battle spear and swung it down. The power of the 5 divine palaces erupted at the same time. It was as if Black Tortoise had appeared, but it was also as if a vast ocean had descended. The boundless power of water suppressed Yang Wu. The others also unleashed all kinds of battle chi. The destructive power of their attacks was top-notch. When a true god was angry, an entire prefecture would be razed to the ground. They didn't want to destroy the war city. They all ascended to the 9 heavens to fight it out. A formation was activated in the city, covering every corner of the city to prevent power from splashing down and harming the innocent. Yang Wu faced the attacks of these powerful, true gods. He just held the Shimpan shield and blocked all their attacks. In the next moment, the god of war pagoda floated. Boundless pagoda light erupted, causing the true gods to look askance. When the god of war pagoda crashed toward them, they had nowhere to hide. Those attacks were all shattered. They couldn't withstand the god of war pagoda's suppression at all. Xin Yuan Long Ang's dragon chi was astonishing. He raised the departing heaven wheel and charged over. The god of war pagoda is not for outsiders. The departing heaven wheel was like a divine mountain. It went around the god of war pagoda and went straight for Yang Wu. He predicted that Yang Wu wouldn't be able to control the god of war pagoda well. However, he was wrong. Yang Wu and the god of war pagoda were connected. It was like a battle weapon that he had nurtured. Under his control, it quickly crashed into the departing heaven wheel. Bang! The top-grade, true god weapon, the departing heaven wheel, was sent flying. Its power also dimmed. The god of war pagoda's power also burst forth. Streaks of divine light turned into all kinds of powers. For example, the Emperor's aura of the Xinyuan clan, the divine arrow of the Emperor's clan, the black tortoise of the Yang clan. All kinds of different martial powers poured into the pagoda. The attacks of the true gods of the battle race were all disintegrated by the pagoda. Many powers swept toward the true gods, forcing them to retreat. The god of war pagoda flew back into Yang Wu's hand. He said faintly, "I have the god of war pagoda. No matter how many of you come, you won't be a match for me. Why are you persisting? If you have the ability, put down the god of war pagoda. If you can defeat us, you can take the pagoda away," the Qin clan's true god shouted. The Lu clan's old god also said, "That's right. The god of war pagoda has recognized its master. We can't stop it. However, We won't allow you to leave like this. Without using the god of war pagoda, you have to defeat us first. It seems like you guys are still not convinced. Yang Wu sighed softly. Following that, he said, as you wish. I don't need the god of war pagoda. You guys won't be a match for me. If I want to leave, none of you can stop me. In the next moment, he threw the god of war pagoda to the side. The tragic Xing Tai was still not released. Xing Tai shouted, "Let me out. You have an unfair advantage." As you wish, Yang Wu said. He also ordered the god of war pagoda to let him out. As such, the powerful true gods of the 8 great battle races were gathered. In the god of war pagoda, he wasn't even afraid of fighting the top-grade true gods of the 8 great battle races at the same time. Would he be afraid of facing these 8 people in front of him? Yang Wu, you snatched the god of war pagoda from our battle race. Let me tell you that you don't have the right to do so. Xing Tai suppressed his anger. He held a divine saber and slashed it toward Yang Wu. The boundless power of the black sun tore through the air, tearing heaven and earth apart. At the 5-sun realm, coupled with the battle chi enhancement unique to the battle race, his combat strength was comparable to that of a 6-sun realm cultivator. In the face of this saber, Yang Wu clenched his fist and punched out. A black tortoise fist force that contained the power of the martial Tao erupted and collided with the saber light with an unstoppable force. Bang! Xing Tai's saber light was shattered by this punch. However, the boundless black flames seemed to have a mind of their own. They burned Yang Wu from all directions. This was Xing Hua, who had reached the true god level. Playing with fire in front of a true god alchemist? You're too inexperienced. Yang Wu said disdainfully. He released blue demoness, which also turned into a black tortoise and swallowed the black flames. It's too early for you to be happy. Xing Tai roared. A cauldron appeared above his head. It released boundless yin qi and suppressed Yang Wu. This was a soul cauldron that could suppress souls. At this moment, the others also made their moves. Yang Wu's combat strength was obviously very strong. Xing Tai alone might not be able to suppress him. The departing heaven wheel released light once again. It turned into a huge yellow dragon and charged forward, wreaking havoc in this world. Xinyuan Onglong was the strongest among them. The strength that he could unleash was naturally not weak. If Yang Wu didn't make use of the god of war pagoda, his attack wouldn't have been so easily dispelled. This time, he wanted to see how Yang Wu would block it. The other true god weapons also unleashed powerful attacks. All kinds of different martial Tao powers contained an unstoppable force. In the battle tribe, I will use the battle tribe's Tao to fight with you. Yang Wu was very arrogant. The black tortoise armor on his body floated. Its powerful defense could block many attacks. He waved his arms and fully released the barbarian god's arms. The black tortoise punched out continuously. The power of each punch contained the Tao of the black tortoise. It was a great Tao towards the immortal Tao, not the original minor Tao. The martial Tao imprint in the punch was like the Xianpan shield. Its destructive power was very strong. It was a power that even emperor-level living beings were afraid of. The power of the divine palace exploded. Immortal Qi was extracted. It was as if the black tortoise had descended. Moreover, it seemed to be more alive. It felt as if this punch wasn't as simple as just being domineering. It was as if it had condensed into a real black tortoise. It had an indescribable feeling. The black tortoise collided with the leaving heaven wheel, swept the soul cauldron, blocked the locking dragon bell. One by one, the true god weapons were sent flying. Yang Wu laughed. So this is the immortal Tao. Actually, it's not the martial Tao. It just transforms the martial Tao and merges it with one's spiritual will. When a martial Tao is alive, it's like an immortal descending. The concept is impermanent. In the next moment, he attacked continuously. He grabbed hold of this feeling and didn't want to let it slip away. In the God of War Pagoda, he encountered many powerful beings. They were all ancestors of the battle tribe. They were existences at the level of emperors. After repeated training, he finally understood the Xianpan Shield's black tortoise immortal Tao inheritance. The black tortoise could attack and defend. It was the Tao of invincibility. Bang! Bang! Chapter 1798. Above the 9 heavens of War City, a boundless vision appeared. It was as if a true dragon was circling around. A black sun appeared, black tortoise broke out of the water, and a killing god descended. The battle between true gods shocked the world and spread throughout War Province. Some true gods flew up to watch the battle. Such a powerful battle was greatly beneficial to them. Those deity realm experts also wanted to watch the battle, but the pressure on their bodies was too terrifying. They couldn't even fly up. Only those peak martial gods could barely break free from his shackles and fly up to watch the battle. Is he really the same age as you? The black-clothed King Xingwu looked at the 9 heavens and asked Xianyuan Houwu indifferently. That's right. Xianyuan Houwu replied with a faint smile. Being in the same era as him is truly our misfortune. Qin Fa sighed. Perhaps he obtained some opportunity or inheritance. Otherwise, it's impossible for him to reach this step so quickly. Xingwu Tian was not convinced. He continued, if we fight steadily, we will definitely surpass him in the future. I am the future emperor of the war race. Big Brother Qin is right. Being in the same era as him, no matter who it is, they will lose their brilliance. Xianyuan Houwu agreed. She paused for a moment and added, even if it's a great emperor, I think so too. She had seen Yang Wu create too many miracles. She was already used to it. However, she felt some resentment in her heart. This guy had never come to the war race to see her. Moreover, she heard that his wife and son had come to the divine world. It was too infuriating. Let's talk about it after he passes this trial. King Xingwu did not argue. He was confident that he could suppress those of the same generation, even if they were Emperor Realm experts. His belief in martial Tao would not be easily shaken. A series of explosions rang out, and one figure after another was sent flying while vomiting blood. The true gods in the distance all revealed incomparable shock when they saw this scene. Yang Wu sent the true gods of the 8 war races flying by himself. Yang Wu, you are indeed powerful, but don't even think about behaving atrociously here. Xianyuan Long did not want to admit defeat just like that. Even if he was injured, he still wanted to use his strongest attack. Yang Wu's imperial yellow art erupted, and his strength continued to rise. A quasi-emperor weapon appeared in his hand. It was the imperial dragon mace. A terrifying dragon's roar was continuously heard. He swung the imperial dragon mace, and instantly, it was as if 10,000 dragons had left their nest, crazily attacking Yang Wu. The other war race true deities retreated far away, not daring to get caught up in this. Xianyuan Long Ang's attack had the power to threaten a quasi-emperor. 10,000 dragons overturned the nest. Facing this move, Yang Wu had no choice but to use the Yu Yin Real God Spear. Otherwise, it would be difficult to block it. Reverse Dragon Spear Art. The fully unsealed True God Yu Yin Spear was also a top-notch True God weapon. It was not much weaker than a Boundary Emperor weapon. Under the immortal power, the explosive power was even more terrifying. There were true dragons and black tortoise descending at the same time and colliding with the 10,000 dragons. Rumble, rumble. In the intense battle, boundless divine Qi continued to splatter. The sky was constantly being torn apart, turning into nothingness. After an unknown period of time, a spear light flashed. A jade-green torrent streaked across, and a figure was sent flying. PFFF. Xianyuan Long frantically retreated, spitting out blood. His all-out attack was also defeated. Have a taste of my attack, too. Xing Tai did not intend to let it go just like that. However, before he could do anything, an invisible force slashed across his body, almost cutting his divine body in half. He was so frightened that he broke out in cold sweat, and his battle intent was completely gone. In the next moment, Yang Wu was like a storm, sweeping towards the others. He once again swept away all the true gods who were preparing to use their powerful attacks. The 8 war race true gods joined forces, but they were still no match for Yang Wu. The weakest among them was at the 4 sun realm, and the strongest was at the 6 sun realm. The 8 of them joined forces, but they were still defeated. Even if they did not use their array formation to attack, the other party did not use the god of War Pagoda either. The outcome was obvious. In Yangwu's heart, these 8 people were far inferior to the 8 people on the 31st level of the god of War Pagoda. He did not feel any pressure at all. Yangwu retracted his aura and said, "Are you satisfied now? I didn't expect that not only are you talented in alchemy, but you're also so powerful in battle. We misjudged you," Xinyuan Longong said unwillingly. He then added, "But you still can't take the god of War Pagoda away. It symbolizes the glory and spirit of our war race. If you take it away, you will be taking away the soul of our war race." "That's right. Yangwu, stay. Although our Yang clan cannot be compared to the medicine god hall, it is the most suitable for you. As long as you stay, everyone in the Yang clan can help you become the arch." Yangwu still did not want to give up on persuading Yangwu. Yangwu was too stunning. He indeed had the bearing of the arch. The god of War Pagoda is not so easy to take. What you have done now has alarmed some of the elders in seclusion. Quickly put the god of War Pagoda back to its original position, Xing Tai said angrily. He had been suppressed in front of so many people. He had lost all his face. "It seems like you're not convinced. If I want to take it away, none of you can stop me." Yangwu shook his head and said. He waved at the god of War Pagoda, wanting to take it back. However, the god of War Pagoda did not return in time. A force descended on the god of War Pagoda, binding it. The god of War Pagoda is not allowed to be taken away by outsiders. A voice sounded faintly. A figure slowly walked out of the void. This was an old man with a decaying aura. He appeared out of thin air, as if he had come from nowhere. Every step he took seemed to contain an inexplicable power. "Uncle." Xing Tai was pleasantly surprised when he saw this old man. "Greetings, Grand Elder Xing." Xinyuan Longong and the others bowed respectfully. The battle clan was united. This old man had not come out of seclusion for nearly 10,000 years. He could be considered a boundary the arch. "You want to stop me?" The boundary the arch of the Xing clan did not show a trace of fear in front of Yangwu. He was also a far cry from the boundary the arch on the 32nd level of the god of War Pagoda. "This is the ancestral item of our clan. No one can take it away. It is not too late to put it down now." The quasi-emperor of the Xing clan glanced at Yangwu Dao. A glint flashed across his eyes as he thought to himself, "Why do they look so similar? It seems like there is no room for negotiation. I have said that I want to take the god of War Pagoda. No one can stop me. Come here." Yangwu was still insistent. The god of War Pagoda had already recognized him as its master. If he could not take it away, how could he become an emperor in the future? Following his command, the god of War Pagoda shone brightly. It broke free from the boundary the arch of the Xing clan and flew back to Yangwu's side. "Stubborn." The boundary the arch of the Xing clan said coldly. He pointed a finger at Yangwu. The finger was like the sky, and Xing fire was like the sun. Xing Yang divine finger. The power of this finger contained the power of 8 suns. It could destroy the sun, the moon, and swallow everything. The surrounding true gods were shocked when they sensed this finger. The power of the 8 divine palaces was like a huge sun. When the finger fell, everything would be destroyed. It was indeed the power of a boundary the arch. Now that the god of War Pagoda had not completely returned to Yangwu's side, how could Yangwu block it? "Do you really think that I can't deal with you without the god of War Pagoda?" "How naive!" Yangwu shouted. He held the Xianpan shield in his hand. The moon's soul battle constitution flew out from his glabella. A boundary the arch aura spread wildly. A huge palm came down and shattered the finger. Soul battle constitution? The Xing clan was shocked. "Since I can't leave after defeating the 8 of them, I'll defeat you and destroy all your fantasies." Yangwu's moon soul battle physique swept over and formed a seal with both of his palms. His aura engulfed the heavens and the earth. The power of the sun, the moon, and the stars fell from his palms. The power from all directions gathered in his hand seal. Before the seal was formed, it had already created an enormous pressure in front of these true gods. "Dong!" A formless sound rang out. Those peak true gods fell from the sky as if they had been attacked. The rest of the weaker true gods also fell by more than half. They felt uncomfortable and suffocated. What battle technique is this? Why is it so scary? Only a Dharch technique can cause such commotion. How can Yangwu be so scary? No wonder the medicine god Hall wanted to make him the young Hall master. This guy is too sick. Does he really have the blood of our battle tribe? Why didn't he join our battle tribe? At this moment, Yangwu was like an emperor looking down on everyone. This is the emperor level of our Xianyuan clan. Xianyuan Long exclaimed. He passed the 33 levels of heaven. He probably obtained the inheritance of the god of War Pagoda. How arrogant, Xing Tai said from the side. He thought to himself, Uncle will definitely be able to defeat him. The Xing clan boundary Thearch's face turned ugly. He sensed that Yangwu had also unleashed the power of a boundary Dharch. He muttered, the younger generation will surpass us in time. If you have another 100 years, you might really be able to ride on my head. You're still too young. Take this palm of mine first, Yangwu replied as he struck out with his palms. The arch seal. The dragon formed a seal. It was like an emperor's decree. No one could go against it. The Xing clan boundary, the arch, also attacked. At his level, he could absorb the power of heaven and earth at any time. Moreover, the martial Dao divine chains he formed were indestructible. He didn't think that Yangwu had the ability to fight him. The black sun swallowed the sky. An incomparably huge sun appeared and crushed down from the sky, crushing countless stars. Moreover, there were endless flames that incinerated everything. The power of the Supreme Yang was unstoppable. The arch seal and the black sun collided with each other. The sky above the 9 heavens turned into nothingness. Spatial turbulence wreaked havoc, and the remaining powers splashed down like misty rain. The true gods of the war race quickly joined forces and opened up the void, diverting the splashing power. Otherwise, if the war race didn't perish, they would suffer heavy losses. Even so, these true gods still felt extremely strained. The power of a boundary Dharch was too explosive. It was impossible for Yangwu to defeat the Xing clan boundary Dharch in one move. He had already prepared his second move. Celestial Rue Seal. Limitless black flames. The powerful moves continued to collide. One wanted to destroy the Celestial Rue. The other wanted to destroy everything in the path of the black flames. The power continued to clash and couldn't be calmed down for a long time. When the power exploded, the two of them retreated at the same time. Puffed. The Xing clan boundary, the arch, spat out blood. His aura quickly withered. The boundary, the arch, was defeated. Chapter 1799. The Xing clan quasi-emperor was too old. He had not been able to break through to the Nine Yang realm. His qi and blood were constantly declining. This time, he had already exhausted his mental energy when he came out of seclusion. He had not expected Yangwu to be so strong. The power of his 2 palms was incomparably terrifying. They were not inferior to the power of a quasi-emperor at all. He had lost. After this, he wouldn't have much lifespan left. However, he could not accept that he would lose to a youth who was weaker than him. He could not help but sigh. I'm old. I'm really useless. Yangwu's moon spirit battle body returned to his side. He looked in a certain direction and said, Come out. I know you've been here for a long time. After he finished speaking, 3 figures walked out at the same time. One of them was dressed in a dragon robe. His eyes were sharp and his aura was like that of a dragon. He gave off an extremely powerful pressure. He was the quasi-emperor of a Xianyuan race. One of them had a bow-shaped battle rune on his forehead, as if a divine arrow would shoot out from his forehead at any moment. He did not care about his appearance, but he seemed to have the sun and moon above his head. He was a quasi-emperor of the Empress clan. On the other side, there was a blue-robed man who was not very tall. His hair was neatly combed, and he always had a faint smile on his face, giving people a sense of intimacy. He was a quasi-emperor from the Yang clan. When the Xing clan boundary emperor arrived, they had already arrived. The battle race had never been afraid of the invasion of monarch-level life forms, because they had these quasi-emperors. Even if they couldn't step into the emperor realm, they could still dominate a region. Among the three of them, the one with the thickest blood chi was the quasi-emperor of the Xinyuan clan. There was a reason why they were called the number one clan. The young emperor of the Medicine God Hall is indeed young and capable. You're truly admirable. The quasi-emperor of the Yang clan was the first to speak. The god of war pagoda belongs to my clan. Since it has recognized its master, you're also a member of my war clan. If you want to take it away, unless you admit that you are a member of my war clan and contribute to our war clan, you cannot forcefully take it away, the Xinyuan quasi-emperor insisted. That's right. The god of war pagoda was refined by the ancestors of my war clan and can withstand emperor-level battle prowess. If you take it away, how will my war clan have the face to stand in the world? The quasi-emperor of the Ho clan also spoke up. Their stance represented the war race's stance. If they couldn't resolve this properly, they would view Yang Wu as an enemy. Yang Wu could not help but hesitate. He said in a low voice, "The god of war pagoda has already acknowledged me as its master. None of you can touch it. There's no point in staying here." After a pause, he asked, "How can I take it away? Let's discuss this matter. Before that, you should return the god of war pagoda to its original position," the quasi-emperor of the Xinyuan clan said. All right. Yang Wu also knew that if he continued to force it, they might become enemies. He still had the battle race's bloodline flowing in his body. The next moment, the god of war pagoda returned to its original position. In fact, Yang Wu and the god of war pagoda were telepathically connected. He could take it away any time he wanted. Young Emperor Yang, you are a member of the Yang family of the human realm. Come with me to the clan as a guest. The quasi-emperor of the Yang family invited. Sure. Yang Wu also wanted to take a look at the Yang family in the divine world. Perhaps there would be some unexpected gains. He really wanted to know how the young martial god was related to him. All right, then let's go to the Yang family and have a chat. The quasi-emperor of the Xinyuan clan agreed. I have no objections, the quasi-emperor of the Ho family said. Just like that, they came to an agreement and headed to the Yang family to discuss the ownership of the god of war pagoda. After the battle ended, the people below were still in a daze for a long time. Everyone disperse, the guardian of the pagoda said faintly. From beginning to end, the guardian of the pagoda had not appeared. No one knew where he was. This was a mysterious expert. Only then did the people around come to their senses. Instantly, there was a flurry of discussion. So he's the young emperor of the Medicine God Hall, Yang Wu. Rumor has it that he's from the battle race. No wonder he can enter the 33 levels of heaven. He's from the battle race of the lower domain. Although he shares the same origin as the divine battle race, he can only be considered a side branch. No wonder he's unwilling to join the battle race. Now that the god of war pagoda has returned, I'm sure he'll compromise. If he joins the battle race, we might even have a true emperor in the future. The competition for the god of war child that occurs once every 500 years is about to begin. Now, no matter who obtains the title, they will be overshadowed by this young emperor. Even a quasi-emperor can't do anything to him. He's too strong. Many true gods and martial gods headed to the Yang family at the same time. They also wanted to know how far the negotiations between Yang Wu and the quasi-emperors would go. The Yang family was a large family. They occupied a large area and had many members. Apart from the main branch, there were many side branches. Every member of the Yang family worked hard to cultivate. If the main branch members did not meet the bloodline requirements, they would be relegated to the side branches. If the side branch's bloodline improved to a certain level, they could also become the main branch. Everything was determined by the purity of one's bloodline and strength. This was the rule of the Yang family and the battle race. This place was like a celestial palace. The spirit energy here was rich, and it was a good place to cultivate. Yang Wu and his group went directly to the main hall of the Yang family. This was also a spatial palace that was isolated from the outside world. No one could sense what was going on inside. It seems that I should build my own palace. Yang Wu could not help but sigh. At his level, he was indeed qualified to own a palace. Building a palace was not an easy task. It required a lot of heavenly materials and earthly treasures. Otherwise, an ordinary palace would be meaningless to him. When he thought of little He, he felt that there would be no problem. Yang Wu was invited to the Yang family and was placed in the VIP seat. He was not neglected. However, the Xing family quasi-emperor had already returned and did not participate in the meeting. The Yang family quasi-emperor sat on the main seat and said, "Young Emperor Yang, are you from the battle race Yang family of the human domain?" Even though he knew this was the case, he still had to ask again and confirm it in front of everyone. "That's right," Yang Wu replied. "Then are you willing to verify the power of your bloodline?" The Yang family quasi-emperor asked again. "It doesn't matter if I do or not." Yang Wu did not care. Then he asked again, "How do you want to prove it?" "The god of war pagoda is the best proof. Without the bloodline of the battle race, it is impossible to reach the 10th level. However, we do not rule out the possibility that you have other methods. Therefore, I hope that you can prove it again and invite the ancestral altar of the Yang family here." The Yang family quasi-emperor said. Not long after, an ancient altar was invited to the main hall by the Yang family. This was an altar that looked like the black tortoise. It was the totem of the Yang family. "That's right. Let's witness it together." The Xianyuan family quasi-emperor agreed. "Let's begin. If you're from the Yang family, there is still room for negotiation." The Ho family quasi-emperor said. Yang Wu glanced at them and said, "I don't know if the battle race of the human domain is related to the battle race of the god domain. However, if you want to verify it, I will give it a try." He also wanted to know if the bloodlines of the two realms came from the same source. After saying that, he tapped the space between his eyebrows. A drop of blood essence floated out from his heart. When this drop of blood essence appeared, all the experts present felt an extremely pure bloodline power. It was like the true essence of the black tortoise. It contained strands of divine chains and was extremely perfect. Before the blood essence reached the ancestral altar, the altar was already glowing. The figure of the black tortoise appeared and took the initiative to devour the blood essence. In an instant, the ancestral altar seemed to be awakened. Boundless light lingered in the main hall. A black tortoise kept shouting and roaring. That domineering aura was incomparably powerful. The figures of the ancestors appeared at the same time. They were all people who had reached the peak of the Yang family. When they saw Yang Wu, they actually bowed slightly to him as if they were paying respects. Everyone present was moved, especially the Yang family quasi-emperor. He was even more stunned. The ancestors are paying respects. What is going on? The quasi-emperor of the Yang family cried out. In the past, even if a pure bloodline appeared, at most one or two ancestors would appear, but such a strange situation would not occur. Yang Wu's eyes flickered. Looking at these ancestor figures, an inexplicable memory fragment kept appearing in his mind, as if all of this was inextricably linked to him. He calmly accepted this bow and said indifferently, "You may rise." It was like the words of a monarch to his subjects, but also like he was the true ancestor, and these people were his descendants. When the ancestor figures disappeared, another figure appeared. It looked very similar to Yang Wu. Even Yang Wu was so frightened that he stood up. At this moment, he exclaimed, "It's you." It was still the young martial god. It was only today that he realized how similar they looked. "I am you, you are me," the young martial god responded and walked directly toward Yang Wu. Yang Wu also unconsciously walked toward the young martial god. The next moment, the two of them merged together. In an instant, the immortal root in Yang Wu's body boiled, and the divine court Dao flower grew wildly. Soon, it grew 81 petals. Fragments of memory frantically gathered together, and he saw his previous life. In his previous life, there was a young man who was born with the appearance of an immortal. When the human race was still very weak, he worked tirelessly to improve himself and created a cultivation method with the other ancestors of the human race. His strength grew stronger, and he suppressed his generation and became an outstanding person of the present age. He rose to prominence with the most outstanding people of the human race, such as the Yin Emperor, the Yellow Emperor, Qi Yu, and other ancient sages. He fought his way to the immortal world, and there was a black dog following him at all times. In the immortal world, he still dominated and was invincible. Unfortunately, he was eventually demoted to the human realm and had to start over. His memories were not fully recovered. It took a long time for him to come back to his senses. None of the quasi-emperors present made the slightest sound. Their minds were spinning rapidly, and no one knew what they were thinking. In particular, the quasi-emperor of the Yang family was completely dumbfounded. Yang Wu was not only a member of the Yang family, but his background seemed to be more terrifying than he had imagined. After a long time, Yang Wu finally came back to his senses. He calmly glanced at the quasi-emperor of the Yang family, and then said indifferently, "Remove it." The quasi-emperor of the Yang family could not help but respond, "Yes." Chapter 1800. Everyone present was stunned. Yang Wu had ordered the Yang clan boundary emperor to remove the ancestral altar. Why did it feel like Yang Wu was the head of the Yang clan? However, they could not say what was wrong, especially after witnessing the figure walking out of the ancestral altar. That was an ancestor-level figure of the same generation as their ancestors. Was Yang Wu's bloodline not only atavistic but also ancestral? The Yang clan boundary emperor came back to his senses and said, "Young Emperor Yang is indeed a member of the Yang clan and has ancestral blood. I believe everyone has seen it. Now let's see what everyone thinks about him taking away the god of War Pagoda." Without waiting for anyone to reply, Yang Wu said, "The god of War Pagoda is useless to you all. Lend it to me for a while. When the time is up, I will return it to its original position." "Why do you say that?" The Empress Boundary Emperor asked. "You don't need to ask so many questions. I took the god of War Pagoda to protect my Tao. When I become an emperor, the god of War Pagoda will be useless to me." Yang Wu's eyes shone with confidence. He paused and said, "Maybe I can make it more advanced in the future." At this moment, Yang Wu's immortal chi was awe-inspiring and extraordinary. This is immortal chi?" Boundary Emperor Xianyuan exclaimed. "Immortal chi? No wonder even our ancestors were alarmed," the Yang clan boundary emperor said. Then he said loudly, "Young Emperor Yang, I beg you to return to the Yang clan. The Yang clan will honor you as the young emperor. I have only cultivated for 200 years. Within 500 years, I will definitely become an emperor," Yang Wu said confidently. Then he added, "Also, I can help you all become emperors." "Don't talk nonsense," the Empress Boundary Emperor exclaimed. "Then take a look at what this is," Yang Wu said. Immortal liquid and chaotic thunder liquid appeared in his hands. These were all items that could raise the realm of a true god. Moreover, he was a true god medicine deity. It would not be a problem for him to help them recover their blood and chi to the peak. Immortal elixir, and it was no longer a low-grade immortal elixir, but a mid-grade immortal elixir. It had great benefits for the true divinity realm, and even monarch realm creatures would go crazy if they saw it. The strands of immortal energy contained within the elixir made the few people present reveal looks of greed. There was also the primal chaos lightning liquid. It was something that was hard to find in this world. It could help them recover some of their life force. It was also very beneficial for breaking through to the Nine Suns realm. Yang Wu had only taken out 2 types of spring water, and that was enough to make them go crazy. Today, Yang Wu was no longer afraid of others discovering how deep his foundation was. He already had the ability to protect himself and didn't mind showing off his potential. "Is this really immortal elixir?" the Yang clan quasi-emperor asked. "Yes, at least it can help you recover your blood and chi to the peak," Yang Wu replied. Then he added, "I believe I don't need to explain the other mysteries. I still have a lot of such immortal elixirs. But immortal elixir alone is not enough to help us reach the Nine Suns realm," the Empress quasi-emperor said. "If you don't even have something to build the Nine Suns realm, then you deserve to be stuck in this realm forever," Yang Wu said sarcastically. The other party still wanted him to take out something to build the Nine Suns realm. Was that possible? The war race had been accumulating treasures for countless years. How could they lack treasures? That was absolutely impossible. This old man just wanted to take advantage of him. The Empress quasi-emperor revealed a trace of resentment. Next to him, Quasi-Emperor Xinyuan said, "This alone is not enough for you to take away the god of war pagoda. Then there's no room for discussion? No. I hope that young Emperor Yang will become the young emperor of our war race. Our 8 races will respect you and help you become an emperor. I also hope that you will help our war race soar and not stay out of it." After Quasi-Emperor Xinyuan finished speaking, the Yang clan Quasi-Emperor also said loudly, "This is a good suggestion. If young Emperor Yang agrees, our war race will follow your lead in the future. But the war race has to agree, right?" The Emperor's Quasi-Emperor was a little troubled. "We have decided. What other opinions do you have?" Young Emperor Yang's talent is obvious to all of us. He is also the young master of the Medicine God Hall. With this status, he could be on equal footing with us. Moreover, he has the bloodline of our war race. Why can't we respect him as the young emperor? Quasi-Emperor Xinyuan said. The powerful true gods sitting in the audience were all speechless. Xinyuan Longong, Hou Jue, Yang Xianying, and the others were all experts. They had the right to sit in and listen. They really did not expect Quasi-Emperor Xinyuan to be so decisive. Now that the 8 races were won, they actually did not have a leader. Even the strongest Xinyuan race was the same. The 8 races had been competing with each other. Was there finally going to be a young emperor to be respected? You're really bold. The Yang clan Quasi-Emperor was about to burst into laughter. I think you should discuss it again. I have offended many people. The Void Palace and the Divine Palace seem to have issued a warrant for my arrest. Yang Wu gave him time to think about it. He was also giving himself time to digest the information in his head. He could not accept it at the moment. The Yang clan Quasi-Emperor also knew that it would be difficult to implement it in a short period of time. He ordered Yang Xianying to take Yang Wu to rest while they continued the discussion. He also called the other old fellows of the war race over. Yang Xianying arranged for Yang Wu to stay in the best place. He also talked about the past of the Yang clan and how good the Yang clan was now, how many people they had, and how much land they occupied. It was as if as long as Yang Wu agreed to stay, he could become the head of the Yang clan. Young Emperor Yang, you are a member of the Yang clan. You should follow the will of the ancestors and stay in the clan to help it become stronger. Moreover, we can also lend you a hand. In the future, you will definitely become the youngest great emperor. Who knows, you might even be able to unify the god realm. Yang Xianying talked endlessly. Yang Wu smiled faintly and said, I am already the young emperor of the Medicine God Palace. How do you think the resources of the Yang clan compare to the Medicine God Palace? Yang Xianying was neither servile nor overbearing. We can't compare to the Medicine God Palace. However, when the war race works together, our battle strength will only be stronger than the Medicine God Palace. Oh, is it really that strong? The war race belongs to the bloodline of the ancestors of the human race. Our bloodline is extremely noble and powerful. Every one of us can fight above our level. There are many martial gods and true gods. We have a total of 6 great emperors. Even great emperors won't dare to invade us. With the help of the war race, you will be like a tiger that has grown wings. Yes, the 8 clans have to listen to my orders. The Yang clan alone is not enough. I believe that with the young emperor's ability, they will agree. I hope so. Yang Liuro, a direct descendant of the Yang clan, brought a handsome man into the clan. Everyone thought that the man that Yang Liuro had taken a liking to was too handsome. Can you really bring me to see the young emperor? Yang Liuro asked nervously as she brought Lu Ji back to the clan. Do you think I would lie to you? Lu Ji smiled. I don't know if you would lie to me or not, but since you're here, I'm afraid that many of the elders in the clan will have a problem with you. They won't allow strangers in for no reason. Don't worry, with my master here, they won't blame you. Who knows, you might even get a great opportunity. Forget about the great opportunity, as long as you don't lie to me. I'll be satisfied as long as I see the young emperor. The two chatted as they walked deeper into the mansion. Who are you? How dare you trick your way into the Yang clan? A true god's voice rang out. Lu Ji was very strong, but it was impossible for him to hide from the other true gods. Lu Ji replied, I am the young Emperor Yang's chief strategist, Lu Ji. Then, the Yang clan boundary emperor's voice rang out. Please invite Lu Ji in. Lu Ji had entered the true God realm, and no one dared to ignore his existence. Moreover, he was the strategist by Yang Wu's side. Lu Ji went to see the quasi-emperor of the Yang clan, and then went to see Yang Wu. At the same time, he also brought Yang Liuro with him. The elders of the Yang clan looked at Yang Liuro with incomparable kindness, as if she was the most outstanding junior of the clan. Especially when the quasi-emperor of the Yang clan said something to her. Her status in the clan would not be low. She was a lucky girl. Yang Liuro was still in a daze, and it took a long time for her to recover. Little girl, why are you in a daze? You've already seen my master, and you're still like this. I'm afraid it's a little rude. Lu Ji joked. Indeed, Yang Liuro was still a young girl, and it was hard for her to calm down after meeting such a big figure. I still don't want to see him. Yang Liuro regained her senses and said, her heart almost unable to take it. No matter how naive she was, she knew how extraordinary Yang Wu's status was. Not just anyone could meet him. Maintain your original heart. No matter what the other party's status or strength is, he's still human. He can't grow 3 heads and 6 arms. Lu Ji said softly. His voice contained divine intent and fell into Yang Liuro's mind, waking her up. If she still did not dare to meet him, then she would miss out on this opportunity. She could only blame herself for not having enough heart. Okay, Yang Liuro's heart was not bad. After she regained her senses, she was no longer afraid. In the courtyard, a person stood with his hands behind his back, one with heaven and earth. He was like the son of an immortal, ethereal, and unparalleled. Master, you've caused too much of a ruckus. Lu Ji saw Yang Wu and laughed. It was an accident. I didn't want it to be like this. Yang Wu turned around and shrugged helplessly. Then he looked at Yang Liuro, who was beside Lu Ji, and said, Why did you bring her here? Outside the God of War pagoda, she saw your true face and saw that you were a hero. The little girl wanted to get some of your immortal aura, so she brought her here, Lu Ji said casually. Yang Liuro was embarrassed by Yang Wu's gaze. She quickly bowed and said, Yang Liuro greets my lord. No need to be so restrained. Yang Wu replied. Then he looked into Yang Liuro's eyes and said, What special ability do your eyes have? Yang Liuro replied, They can see through illusions. Is it that simple? Yang Wu asked. The elders in the clan said that this is already very powerful. Yang Liuro replied weakly. Haha, that's because they don't understand. I think it can be even more powerful. Do you believe me? You're so strong and look so similar to my clan's ancestor. You should be a member of the Yang clan, right? I believe you. Okay, then open your eyes to the maximum. Yes, that's it. DD. Chapter 1801. Droplets of immortal liquid fell into Yang Liuro's eyes. She only felt a surge of immortal energy, saw clouds flowing in reverse, saw birds and beasts changing, and also saw all living things slowly recovering. In the end, everything became calm, and only a dense feeling floated in her eyes. It was very comfortable and carefree. The things that she didn't understand in the past, she actually understood completely at this moment. Her aura rose little by little, continuously jumping over small levels, directly entering the saint realm. The power of the stars gathered, and even more entered her eyes. All of this was seen by Yang Wu and Lu Ji. Lu Ji transmitted, as expected of the Lord. This is a great gift. You brought the girl here. Naturally, I have to give you face. Yang Wu smiled. A drop of immortal liquid split into 2 and entered her eyes. Her eyes underwent a qualitative change. From now on, there was another invincible girl in the Yang family. Think about it. Which faction had immortal liquid to wash their eyes? Even if an ordinary person touched it, they would become martial, Dao heavenly eyes, not to mention Yang Liuro, who originally had eye techniques. This fortuitous encounter was not an ordinary one. They're all from a Yang family. But this girl's temperament is not bad. It's her luck. Lu Ji praised. Lu Ji's yin-yang eyes were also washed with immortal liquid. Not only could he see through all illusions, he could even read people's hearts. This was the terrifying part of his yin-yang eyes. Perhaps this was also the reason why Lu Ji was so close to Yang Liuro. When the power of the stars accumulated to a certain degree, Yang Liuro stepped into the saint realm. The commotion here didn't attract too much attention. After all, this was a place for distinguished guests. How powerful were they? Just a casual breath could cause heaven and earth phenomena. So no one paid attention. Besides, how many saints were there in the Yang family? Yang Liuro opened her eyes, hazily seeing Yang Wu. She was so frightened she quickly lowered her head. Greetings, ancestor. What did you see? Yang Wu asked gently. I speak. I won't blame you. I saw my ancestor come from the ancient times, but I don't know where he went. Your eyes are indeed outstanding. In the future, you can call them celestial eyes. Don't let down. Many thanks, ancestor. Yang Liuro said gratefully. My lord, why don't you accept another disciple? Lu Ji asked from the side. You brought her here, so I'll leave her to you, Yang Wu replied. She's a member of a Yang family. So what? She has more fate with you. Both of your eyes are very beautiful. I'm actually speechless. Lu Ji helplessly agreed. Then he looked at Yang Liuro and said seriously, Are you willing to take me as your master? What realm are you at? Yang Liuro looked at Lu Ji and asked. She always felt that Lu Ji's strength wasn't very reliable. What's with that look in your eyes? I'm only slightly inferior to the Lord. Lu Ji replied. The aura of a true god flowed from his body. Yang Liuro was so frightened that she quickly bowed and said, Greetings, master. At least you know how to behave. Follow me for a period of time and observe first. Lu Ji put on the airs of a master and said, Don't worry, master. I'll be filial to you. Yang Liuro also quickly said. She really didn't dare to take Yang Wu as her master. Lu Ji was indeed a better choice. In the next few days, the news of Yang Liuro taking Lu Ji as her master spread. Yang Liuro's elders objected at first. Their Yang family didn't lack experts to teach Yang Liuro, and they felt that Yang Liuro must have been cheated. But not long after, they received the Yang family's ancestors' words, allowing Yang Liuro to take Lu Ji as her master. Now, all the voices of objection were silenced. These few days, Yang Wu didn't leave his room. He was cultivating in seclusion and comprehending everything he had gained from the god of War Pagoda. He was also sorting out all the memories in his mind. So I was with little Hay in my previous life. No wonder that fellow was always by my side. Since she's already reincarnated, why did she leave behind so many memories of her previous life for me to receive? Could it be that I've already done this in my previous life? I was clearly invincible in the immortal world. Why do I have to do it all over again? Yang Wu's mind was filled with questions. He really couldn't understand the cause and effect of all this. When this was over and he went back to see little Hay, he would settle the score. In these few days, his martial path had become even stronger, especially his black tortoise Dao, which had almost touched the immortal Dao. His other martial paths were also improving rapidly. A portion of his memories from his previous life had a huge impact on his cultivation. In his previous life, he had already stood at the peak of invincibility. Now that he had regained his memories, everything else came naturally. The martial artists of the immortal world are still too weak. I can still perfect every realm. Yang Wu's eyes exuded invincible confidence as he reorganized his own realm. Barbaric God, Arm Wind God Kick. Nether Ice Wing Blade. He had also sorted out each of his talents. Rings of immortal chi rippled within them, containing an inexplicable power of the martial path. These talents had all leveled up at the same time. Apart from that, the battle skills he cultivated were constantly improving as well. Even the simplest battle skills possessed extremely terrifying destructive power in his hands. I didn't expect to have an additional talent for alchemy in this life. Those alchemy techniques and immortal arts were all passed down to little Hay by me. In this life, this fellow actually dares to come running over me. Haha, just wait and see how I'll deal with him when I return. Yang Wu was becoming more and more extraordinary. On the 7th day, Yang Xining came to invite Yang Wu to the main hall for a meeting. Yang Wu came out of seclusion like a true immortal. Yang Xining couldn't help but bow and say, Greetings, young emperor. Just as bearing alone was enough to subdue a true god expert. Yang Wu nodded lightly as a matter of course, and was led to the meeting hall by Yang Xianying. As he recovered the memories of his previous life, he was certain that these were all his descendants. It wouldn't be an exaggeration for the people of the Yang family to address him as their ancestor. When he arrived at the meeting hall, he found that the powerful, true gods of the 8 major battle clans were all present. In addition, there were 6 quasi-emperors, Xianyuan, Ho, Yang, Xing, Qin, and Sunday. The Liu and Li families didn't have quasi-emperors. Their gazes all fell on Yang Wu. Their eyes twitched slightly, as if they had seen the son of an immortal descending. They didn't dare to blaspheme him directly. No one dared to sit any longer. They all stood up. Yang Wu glanced at them and took the lead to ask, "Have you all considered the descendants of the 8 major battle clans?" Young Emperor Yang? The quasi-emperor of the Yang family couldn't figure out Yang Wu's situation. "This name is not bad, but I think you should call me Immortal Ancestor," Yang Wu said faintly. Then, he walked toward the seat of the quasi-emperor of the Yang family. Everyone frowned as they looked at Yang Wu. They felt that Yang Wu had changed too much. Moreover, they couldn't figure out what was going on. Could it be that the ancestor of the Yang Wu had possessed him? When Yang Wu came in front of the quasi-emperor of the Yang family, the quasi-emperor of the Yang family unconsciously gave up his seat. Yang Wu patted him on the shoulder and said, "You're not bad." In the next moment, the power of the immortal foundation on Yang Wu's body surged. Boundless immortal chi filled the place as if an immortal had descended. Moreover, the mental power he released covered the hall. Everyone felt as if they had seen an immortal. No one dared to look directly at him. Someone shouted, "Greetings, immortal ancestor." Everyone else bowed and said in unison, "Greetings, immortal ancestor." At this moment, everyone believed that Yang Wu was definitely the reincarnation of the Yang family's immortal ancestor. Or perhaps he was possessed. The Yang family had once produced an immortal. I don't know what the result of your discussion is. Since I have already awakened, I will be the leader of the war race. Do you have any objections? Yang Wu sat down and calmly scanned everyone as he spoke. In his previous life, he had seen countless talents, countless immortal kings, immortal emperors, and even many immortal realm experts were all trampled by him. He didn't care about all kinds of grand occasions. Now that he was in the war race, he didn't need to restrain his disdainful spirit. "We have no objections," everyone said in unison. Originally, there were still a few people who had objections. But now, I didn't even dare to breathe loudly. Yang Wu was too monstrous. He was definitely the reincarnation of an immortal. If they dared to say the word no, they would probably be directly erased by him. I will take the god of war pagoda and turn it into a true immortal weapon. Do you have any objections? Yang Wu asked again. "We have no objections," everyone said in unison again. "In the future, my orders will be obeyed by the 8 clans. If anyone disobeys, I will eliminate that clan. If you listen to my orders obediently, there will be benefits for you." Yang Wu emphasized. Immortal chi shrouded his body, and a stretch of martial fate filled the sky. Endless divine chains gathered into a river and rushed out of the discussion hall, directly landing in various parts of the Yang clan. In an instant, the people of the Yang clan felt a wave of immortal chi descend. Their minds were clear, and the power in their dantian rose rapidly. Many people quickly broke through, and even the immortal realm experts were the same. At the same time, the Yang clan's aura pillar rose crazily. Purple chi rushed into the clouds like a true dragon soaring into the sky, shocking the war continent. My Yang clan's aura is so strong. My cultivation level has broken through. I broke through. I broke through too. I feel blessed as if I have the blessing of my ancestors. This is really great. Not only you guys broke through, I am also breaking through. This is the sign of our Yang clan's prosperity. The people of the Yang clan all shouted excitedly. Everyone in the discussion hall rushed out. When they saw the changes, they were completely stunned. This was definitely the work of an immortal. Even an emperor-level expert could not do this. He could change the fate of an entire clan with a single thought. right? Thank you for the blessing, immortal ancestor. The Yang clan quasi-emperor and the others all knelt. They had to kneel. This was definitely their ancestor. Everyone, get up. This is not good. Yang Wu responded. Suddenly, his eyes flickered. He quickly rushed out of the palace and soared into the nine heavens. Everyone was confused, but they all followed. Yang Wu looked in a direction. There was boundless murderous aura surging, mountains and rivers collapsing, and all things dying. It was a sign of great danger. The true gods who followed also saw this scene, and they were all shocked. As expected, these clowns have all come out. But don't think you will succeed.